Lost in the static.
And industrial base. Israel has a long history of spying on its primary benefactor, from the Jonathan Pollard case to more recent concerns over technology transfers, yet it receives billions in annual U.S. aid with few strings attached. U.S. officials told reporters the surge in Israeli activity coincided with tensions over Iran policy and ceasefire talks. Israeli efforts allegedly included monitoring senior figures and eavesdropping on American negotiators, behavior one would expect from an adversary, not a close partner. Both the White House and Israel have pushed back against the reports, but the internal DIA assessment, detailed in documents viewed by media outlets, leaves little room for doubt about the intelligence community's view. Critics warn of deeper vulnerabilities, expanding the joint R&D, co-production, and data sharing with a nation now formally assessed as conducting critical-level espionage against the U.S. risks compromising American technological superiority. Israeli defense industries stand to gain significantly, potentially at the expense of U.S. jobs and sovereignty, while American taxpayers foot the bill for a relationship that often appears one-sided. The provision would also make decoupling more difficult by creating domestic U.S. jobs tied to Israeli partnerships, giving the lobby additional leverage in Congress. This comes as public and political support for unconditional aid to Israel faces growing scrutiny. Again, Section 224 builds on existing cooperation, but institutionalizes this cooperation in a way that can't simply be defunded. As the NDAA moves forward, lawmakers face a clear choice: continue prioritizing an unreliable partner that spies on its patron, or put America's interests first by rejecting deeper integration at a time when counterintelligence warnings could not be louder. This is what we're faced with here in the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen. This is the conflict of our time. This is the national security threat of our time. This is the ultimate question of our generation. The question being, America first, or to continue the neoconservative, international, global police state, the empire that has been established since the collapse of the gold-backed dollar, and especially catalyzed since the war on terror began and the establishment of the Patriot Act. Bak, what are your thoughts on this?
If we look at the history of the Five Eyes, we've always spied on one another, you know, to kind of, it's almost like a lock-in step thing. We want to be there right as our allies are there. And it's well known, and we all even, you know, we joke about it. It's well known. But what Israel does is especially malevolent. They don't just, you know, see what we're up to looking over our shoulder. They constantly steal IP. They steal our secrets. They sell it to our enemies.
I understand every nation's need to do whatever it takes to protect its own interests. So I don't even really criticize Israel for its efforts. What I criticize is our political class's willingness, vulnerability, susceptibility to being blackmailed, bribed, bought and paid for, like we saw with the Massie election in Kentucky 4. I just wish we didn't sell out so easy, because then we couldn't be bought so easily.
I'm impressed. They have a GDP lower than California. I think I heard it. They have a GDP lower than San Francisco. But look at all the chaos that they've managed to.
Well, and we know that the State of Israel was established 1 year after the Central Intelligence Agency was established. We know that Israel was likely involved in the assassination of JFK for reasons other than just the most obvious circumstantial evidence, which is that obviously Israel wanted nuclear proliferation. JFK was one of the few leaders at the time that was against Israel having a nuclear weapon. There's documentation to back this and support this. It makes a lot of sense that Israel was involved in the assassination of JFK. I've always said that Israel provides the assassin and the CIA provides the patsy. I think that's true of JFK. I think that's true of 9/11 in large. I think it's true of some of these other events that we've seen, likely Charlie Kirk being the most recent example of this. But the question is, how is it that the United States of America became so entrenched in the interests, intelligence, and national security of Israel to begin with? Because it's obvious now that we're at this place when you look at what happened with Epstein, and they're covering up the Epstein files, most likely because he was a Mossad agent, and we can't undermine America's support for Israel in the middle of a war with Iran. But it's obvious now why we're so entrenched. Our politicians are either blackmailed or bribed or bought and paid for through lobbyists like AIPAC. So it makes sense now why our politicians support Israel so much. But the question I come to ask is, how is it that we allowed it to get to this point?
Well, no one allowed it to get to this point, and this gives, at this point of the game, we can see how true Albert Pike's letter was. That you have to have a world war centering around the Middle East that you have to have the Zionists politically in control. This was.
Here's the letter. This is the Reese report that came to mind as you mentioned the letter from Albert Pike. Let's listen.
Will be used to destroy
And it
other
goes
government.
on. But that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, the letter to Mazzini, which often gets discredited. I like how this is a Reese report, correct?
Yep.
I like how he threw in the Oddfellows orphanage too, because if you know anything about Oddfellows, they were heavily involved in the Victorian era, the early 1900s, with orphanages all throughout the country. That's a whole separate discussion with Cabbage Patch Kids and cloning. But yeah, isn't it funny that every year that goes by, we get closer to the true intent of that letter?
So it looks like the group traces back to 18th century England, which is the 1700s, where working class men, often outside traditional trade guilds, formed societies for mutual support. Modern independent order emerged in 1810 in Manchester as a breakaway group. The U.S. founding April 26, 1819 in Baltimore by Thomas Wildey and a small group of English immigrants. Peak and decline. It grew rapidly in the 19th and early 20th centuries, becoming one of the largest fraternal orders in the U.S. with thousands of lodges. Like many similar groups, Masons, Elks, membership declined sharply after the mid-20th century, but still exists today with lodges in the U.S., Canada, and other countries. So the core principles: friendship, love, and truth. Visit the sick, relieve the distress, bury the dead, and educate the orphan. Members historically contributed to a common fund for sickness, unemployment, death benefits, and family support, functioning somewhat like an early mutual insurance society. It was engaged in philanthropy, structure, etc. They're often compared to Freemasons because both are fraternal orders with ritual symbols and moral teachings. Oddfellows historically put greater emphasis on direct community service and mutual aid. So there you have it. That's the Oddfellows for you. I didn't know much about them.
Yeah, not many people do. There used to be a brewery where I lived. It's called Oddfellows Brewery, and that's how I found the whole history of the Oddfellows out.
Were they still going there?
No, it was just like regular people, normies going to Oddfellows Brewery. But I find it funny that they named it that.
All right, where should we pivot to next, Bach, based on this breaking news that the Pentagon is elevating the national security threat to the United States from Israel to a critical level, which is the highest level that the Pentagon elevates counterintelligence threats to, all in the context of the fact that we're about ready to merge our intelligence apparatus formally with Section 224 of the NDAA.
Well, funny you say that, Chasey, because I got two clips right here, big boy. 100 Pentagon names. They're never going to fess. That's all I remember.
I can't believe that our official position, I saw this from John Kiriakou too. We spy on every single nation, but allegedly we don't spy on Israel at all. I find that hard to believe.
That's all bullshit too. We're spying on every nation.
I know,
on the
but John
planet.
Kiriakou is typically hyper transparent about the actions of the CIA.
Yeah, but he hasn't been in the CIA for many years.
You think that we weren't spying on Israel in the early 2000s? When he was in the CIA?
Do you think that the Pentagon was completely caught flat-footed with the Israeli art students and so on and so forth? I find that hard to believe. Like, oh, come on. We know you're spying and stealing everything.
John's lying, or do you think that he's just mistaken?
I just think he's mistaken. He doesn't, he obviously has integrity. He came out, admitted we were waterboarding, was against it. So I'm not going to question his character. But to say at this point we're not spying on Israel, if we're not spying on Israel, we're fucking retarded.
You don't really have to spy on them because they do everything so overtly.
What do you mean? No, they announce their intent overtly, but they don't do covert stuff overtly. That'd be like an oxymoron.
Well, I mean, even when the Epstein files come into existence, we cover for Israel.
Yeah, because it's a national embarrassment. That's why we cover for Israel. We have a stake in keeping that information hidden.
What was your next clip?
My next clip is Uncle Alex, who we love dearly. 101, Alex Jones on Israeli Spy.
What comes out Friday night? The Pentagon. Now, here's the big announcement. The Pentagon, 100% in response to the legislation, what happened Thursday, passing out a committee to give Israel, under Section 224 of the National Defense Authorization Act, total access to everything. AI, weapons development, DARPA, top universities, lifetime telemetry, integration, lifetime fusion. Integration, synchronization, fusion. When you hear fusion, integration, synchronization, baby, that means That means simpatico. That means one unit. Those are the terms they use for the armed services to work together and down to the unit level. And Netanyahu's letter bragging that he wrote the plan and wrote what they put in the bill, thanking the committee for passing it.
I can't believe we're even in a position as a nation where we would consider legislation written, endorsed, sponsored by any foreign leader.
Is it Americans or is it dual citizen congressmen and women that have already been bought and paid for that aren't even true Americans?
You got Netanyahu coming out and bragging that he was involved in the drafting of it. He's talking on 60 Minutes before this legislation even came to the front about how he wanted less aid from the United States of America and he wanted it to be more of a partnership. Then this legislation bounces in. So there are no quantifiable dollar amounts for how much money or support or aid we give Israel because it's all framed under an official partnership. So we just fund our end of the partnership and it looks like DOD black budget stuff, regular budget stuff. It doesn't look like foreign aid to Israel. So if they reframe the relationship from an aid relationship to a partnership relationship, then it looks like what we're giving Israel is $0 a year.
I coined this term. Hopefully it'll catch on. I call these people ANOs, Americans in name only. All right, go back to Jonathan Pollard. I got the write-up right here. We all know what he did. He stole the uranium, you know what I mean? Dimona plant, et cetera, et cetera.
No, don't assume that we all know what he did. Explain it.
Okay. 1984-85, U.S. Navy intelligence analyst Jonathan Pollard passed hundreds of classified documents. His time stems back decades before, though. He was part of the Dimona plant staff. And he gave it to a unit called LACM, which is an Israeli scientific intelligence unit. But he's not the only one doing stuff like this. We have Ben Ami Kaddish in 1980-85 passed classified documents on U.S. missile defense systems to the same handler who worked with Pollard. We have Richard Smith, charged in 1985 with smuggling Critons, nuclear trigger devices to Israel. So if you look back at the timeline of America, especially in more modern times, everyone's used our goodwill in our immigration system against us to get their foreign agents established here. So I don't even consider these people who would pass 224 and endorse it to be Americans. They're ANOs. That's all it is. These are not true Americans. You know, they probably all have dual citizenship. They're all ready to flee at a moment's notice. Probably don't even have to flee because any charges that come against them will just be thrown out. So we're not dealing with Americans here. We're dealing with foreign handlers, foreign agents. We just got to call them out for what they are. You don't give them the grace of calling them an American. They're not traitors. They're just doing what they do.
When everybody's coming out too, I posted something on my X account the other day, either earlier today or yesterday, that Israel is the greatest threat to national security in the United States of America. Somebody responded with how much money Qatar spends on influence in the United States versus how much money Israel spends on influence in the United States. And it's, Qatar is just far and away, explicitly, overtly, much more money spent to influence the United States of America. But it doesn't count any of the APAC spending. It doesn't count any of the other disproportionate influence, like the 12% of leadership or investors in member banks that own the Federal Reserve, or that's disproportionate representation inside this administration.
That's a terrible fucking example because Israel uses Qatar as a cutout to make payments, to do bribes, and to take all sorts of hostile actions. Like, remember that they got caught paying. They were dispensing money to Qatar, and then Qatar was paying Hamas. Remember that?
So they're laundering their lobbying efforts through not only super PACs here in the United States of America, but through other partner nations.
Yeah, they don't want to get caught with their hand in the cookie jar every single time. Israel's a very smart, conniving nation. And I will never commit suicide. I love life dearly. And I no longer do drugs.
What other clips do you have, Bacchus?
If we go to... Bacchus is the Lord of Wine and Fertility, by the way. Oh, this is very interesting. Clip 102, Massie on USS Liberty. Let us never forget what they did to our boys and girls on the USS Liberty. Cocksuckers.
On the next day, on June 8th, they started the day. The visibility was unlimited. The American flag was flying proudly on the USS Liberty. More planes came from Israel to surveil the boat, the ship. And they thought they were in good shape, but what happened next surprised them all. French Mirage jets showed up and for 25 minutes strafed and attacked the USS Liberty. They shot rockets. They shot 30-millimeter cannons into the hull and into the ship. They even dropped napalm on the bridge of the ship. This was an effort to kill everybody on board. There was no intention of taking prisoners. After the 25 grueling minutes of attack on this virtually unarmed ship, and they thought things were over and they could recover, the torpedo boats showed up, 3 torpedo boats. They launched 4 torpedoes. One of them hit the hull of the USS Liberty and killed 25 people instantly. It blew a 40-foot by 40-foot hole in the side of this ship. They were intent on sinking it. But they were also intent on not having a single survivor. According to eyewitness accounts, the Israelis machine gunned the lifeboats that they put down. They machine gunned the firefighters who were on the deck. They were bringing the wounded and the dead to the mess hall to triage them. They had one doctor who was trying to help them all, put a few stitches in. It was harrowing, and it's amazing.
The captain had to tie his guts in.
That crew, that boat would have sunk that day. But it still wasn't over. Helicopters showed up, combat helicopters. And the USS Liberty, even though their signals were being jammed by the Israelis, got a signal out. And there were ships that tried to respond. The USS Saratoga, the USS America sent planes. Both of them sent planes to help the USS Liberty. And something happened that's never happened before. A ship under attack, the planes were recalled.
And this is how badly we've been cucked. They say it was mistaken identity amidst the chaos of the 6-day war. But if you look at the details of the attack, they air attacked us, they torpedo attacked us, they tried jamming U.S. signals, and the only reason we even know about this is because our brave servicemen and women got one of the signals out for a request for help. Mm-hmm. And then they even tried paying us after, like, hey, you did good, buddy. Hey, sorry about that. You know, that one's on us. They're no ally. I'll tell you that much.
And what was the purpose of taking down the USS Liberty? Was it to try to frame?
It was I believe it was a false flag incident. They were going to blame Egypt or something like that to try to get us involved into the war. It was like a Gulf of Tonkin, but with a Jewish spin on it, baby.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, what's next, Bak?
Okay, let me get to the clip list. If we play clip 103, War on Iran.
Okay, let's play it.
Is Israel spying on peace talks between Iran and the U.S.?
Yes.
The Pentagon is raising its threat levels as Pakistan tries to end the deadlock in negotiations. And Israel kills 3 Lebanese soldiers despite agreeing to bring the army back to the south. Here's what happened over the last 24 hours. The U.S. Department of Defense has raised its counterintelligence threat level, not against Iran or an enemy state, but against Israel. That's according to the New York Times and NBC, quoting officials with knowledge of secret defense intelligence agency reports. The designation stems from concerns within the Pentagon that Israel has ramped up surveillance efforts against top Trump officials, including Steve Witkoff, to get details about deliberations on Iran peace talks. Reports say U.S. defense personnel stationed in Israel detected software to tap their communications had been installed on their phones. The Pentagon has declined to comment, and the White House denied the reports. But this comes at a very sensitive time, with Donald Trump promising a deal with Iran is imminent, even as both sides fire at each other.
But, I mean, that's all terrible news. Obviously, we're going to get terrible news nowadays. But the good news is Meta sued a spyware company belonging to Israel, Pegasus Tools, and then they actually refiled, I believe, today. So we do have American tech giants starting to fight back against the malware, the spyware.
Do you have the details on that?
Yes.
What's that story? That's fascinating.
So right here, yes, Meta is taking fresh legal action against NSO Group, the Israeli spyware company behind the Pegasus tool. This is not a brand new lawsuit, but enforcement in their long-running case. Meta originally sued NSO back in 2019 in U.S. federal court in California, accusing it of using Pegasus spyware to hack about 1,400 WhatsApp users, including journalists, activists, and government officials, by exploiting the app's servers in violation of U.S. anti-hacking laws.
Well, there you have it. They hack us. They institute false flags. They dance around when our towers get whacked. They get us involved in conflict after conflict, forcing us to get involved in this war with Iran because they were going to attack if we didn't get involved, allegedly. That's what Marco Rubio said anyway. I don't know why we're not just done.
Well, they got that retard strength.
It's like an abusive relationship. Oh, it's my fault. He loves me. He's actually very sweet most of the time.
The U.S. is a child bride, and we're being forced into an arranged marriage. I know what it feels like to be Indian now.
Holy shit.
It's terrible. Help. I'm blinking twice.
All right, what's next?
Okay,
Israeli spying Jack Posobiec?
yeah, we got Jack Posobiec, who used to be a naval intelligence officer, 104, Jack P on Israeli.
With Iran, certainly far better than the Obama deal.
So it goes way beyond Five Eyes. Like, like Five Eyes spying on each other. It's like when you slap your buddy on the ass in the football locker room and you say, good game. What Israel does is they try to find out if we're going to an off ramp for the war, and they just demolish the shit out of that plan. Everything they do is to be insidious from the inside out. And they've been very good at it.
It's just unbelievable to me that in the aftermath of the Epstein debacle, Israel would have the audacity to come out and say that it doesn't spy on its allies when we know Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent that was intentionally weaponized to blackmail our leaders, both formal and informal leaders, tech, authors, scientists, politicians, you name it. I mean, here's a little bit from John Kiriakou on why Mossad agents can't be trusted. And others as well, but Jack Maxey told me that the so-called Russians who allegedly stole Hunter Biden's electronics, this is before the laptop was left behind in the repair store, those Russians were actually Mossad agents. And so, yeah, I mean, you got John Kiriakou coming out and saying Mossad is spying on us. We have all the evidence from USS Liberty through 9/11, through the Charlie Kirk assassination, through the JFK assassination, that Mossad is spying on us. I mean, I've talked to Navy SEALs who have said that whenever they've shared locations with Mossad, that Mossad will leave those locations in disarray as a deliberate expression of disrespect for the United States. I mean, it's obvious. So the fact that they would come out and say that they're not spying on us in any way, shape, or form, I just think is another egregious example of dishonesty.
That's all true, and this is also true. We have a historic moment for the channel. Colby Upston just gave us our first super chat, bro.
Congrats.
Thank you so fucking much.
Thank you, Colby. Colby's the man, by the way.
Colby's the fucking man.
I've been exchanging emails with him. He's the fucking man.
You're going to get a deluxe picture in frame of me and Chase's feet. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, box feet are disgusting because he was bound as a child.
No, but they look nothing like my pinky. But my feet are, it's a little bit better than like Hobbit feet. But we'll move on. Sorry about that.
So what did he say in the super chat?
He didn't even say anything. He just sent it. And he was like,
hell yeah.
Hell yeah, bro. Thank
American
you so
hero.
much, bro. It's a woman. I'm so sorry, Colby. I thought you were...
Colby's a woman?
Colby's a woman.
Hell yeah.
Congratulations, Colby, on being a woman.
I just assumed it was a man because my brother's name is Colby.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Colby could swing both ways, but thank you so much, Colby. Should we play clip 105? As goes BB, so goes Trump.
Yeah.
Wow. Did Donald Trump find his off-ramp yet?
No, he certainly didn't. And he is caught now, and it's really kind of tragic to look at where he is. Bibi is stuck with people who oppose him and probably are going to defeat him and send him to prison because he's not being hard enough in Lebanon, and Donald Trump is telling him he's got to lay off Lebanon and other things like that. So he is caught between a rock and a hard place, and Donald is too, because where Bibi goes, he goes to a certain extent. And he's not winning this war with Iran, and it's going to be increasingly difficult to convince anyone, even his own people, like in the military, that he is.
Well, does he even have a military solution, Colonel?
Not really, not really. And I can tell you right now, from what we've been hearing from Tampa and from Central Command headquarters, it's a disaster.
Holy shit, we just got a second super chat.
Hell yeah.
From Michigan AD313, who wants to know who wins in 2028? What happens from 2028 to 2032? Chase actually has a theory on this.
I think the Democrats win in 2028 at the presidential level and in the House and in the Senate. And I think 2028 to 2032 is hell, similar to what happened in Germany between 1928 and 1932, similar to what happened with the Great Depression in 1929 here in the United States, and of course globally as a result of that. And I think in 2032, that's our massive comeback where the neoconservatives are completely eradicated and the new form of the Republican Party is fully manifest. And it's not a question of if we're going to win in 2032. It's just a question of whether or not when we take all of the power, we're mature enough and equipped enough to handle it responsibly.
Pretty much, Chase thinks we're going to lose in 2028 to the Dems, and then we're going to become a fascist dictatorship in 2032. Am I right?
I don't know. I mean, it's a risk. I don't like to just say that the alt-right is fascist because that's a cheap shot and it's not true. But you're going to see a completely different Republican Party in power in 2032 than the current form of the Republican Party or the traditional form of it. I
really hope so, man, because I'm getting tired of this bullshit.
Me too.
If we go, so this is why this is so important about the merger with 224 and sharing intelligence with Israel. We played a couple of these clips, but we didn't really give it the respect it deserves. I've been saying Iran already has nuclear weapons. If we play clip 106, now this information's starting to disseminate out. And it could even be all connected to the Trump phone call with Bibi. Like, this could be soft disclosure to get us an off-ramp. Clip 106, Iran is preparing.
By the way, Iran's getting ready to conduct a nuclear test, probably. It's about 60% assured now, I think. And it's a long backstory, but we knew it was going to happen. We knew that they had probably reconsidered once the Ayatollah was killed, the way he was killed. And we're going to have a wholly different situation when Iran explodes a weapon and everybody knows that they're a nuclear power. An entirely different situation. The question is, will it be more positive or decidedly negative?
Are you corroborating the rumors that Larry Johnson and Pepe Escobar have also stated that Iran does have a nuclear weapon?
Not just that. Professor Emeritus at MIT.
And of course, Alex Jones, who's been saying it for years before anyone else said it.
And I agree with it. And I did the negotiations up close and personal with North Korea. And Kang Sak-ju and Yi-gun turned to our representative in Pyongyang and said, put your economic package away. We already have nuclear weapons.
And even before Alex, sorry to cut you off, even before Alex, Steve Quayle was reporting on Dr. Khan in Pakistan and how they were proliferating nuclear devices, centrifuges, triggers, uranium, all throughout the 90s. So anyone who knows, like, if you know, you know, you know?
If you know, you know, you know.
Yeah.
By Steven Bak.
Yeah. Thank you for my
And I
TED
was
talk.
doubting, you know, I doubted that Iran had nuclear weapons because my thinking was surely they would have used them already, given the fact that we cut off the head of the snake in Iran early in this conflict. But you pushed back on that, Bach, when I would mention that to you on air. You said, look, that's not the right time. They're holding their cards. They're waiting for the right moment. They can't be the first one to strike. I think that's a realistic interpretation of what's going on, especially in the context of the fact that Alex Jones is almost always right. And he said for years that Iran has nukes, that they've had nukes for years. And it seems more and more every day that goes by like he's right. But the question is, where would, given the fact that we're constantly bombing Iran, where would Iran do this demonstration?
Well, the only thing, so Iran doesn't want their power plants, their roads, their bridges destroyed. That much is obvious. And there's two paths to this war. This is going to be a forever war in the totality of the timeline, but we will most likely get ceasefires and even a short-term end to the war, because the longer that Iran doesn't pump and they can't get their oil out to the terminals and then from the terminals shipped around the world, their oil infrastructure is going to be destroyed, and then they're fucked. So there are multiple sides seeking resolution to this, because like if you know about the oil fields, you have to keep them pumped. You have to keep it flowing. Once they shut down, they never flow back to the capacity, if you can even reopen them at all. So there are reasonable minds here at play. Shout out to SRT Not Foreign, by the way. Thank you for that super chat. This is amazing. I never thought I'd get a super chat in my whole life. So shout out to the real ones, bro. Thank you. But what you're going to do is escalate to de-escalate. That's a known doctrine. And at first we had mutually assured destruction, But now in the age of miniaturization with tactical nuclear warheads and hypersonics, there is no mutually assured destruction doctrine. That's in question. That's why everyone's pulled out of the START treaty, and that's why everyone's going hypersonic, you know? And the second path to this is first person to use nuclear weapons loses because they're going to get the ire of the whole world. So it's a complicated game here where you don't have MAD doctrine and you don't want the casus belli called on you for being the first aggressor with nuclear weapons. And you want your infrastructure preserved. You want your oil fields to be able to reopen up and the pumping to resume and to be able to ship, but you don't want to lose. You don't want your infrastructure destroyed. You don't want to just, call uncle.
What are the chances that they detonate a nuclear weapon within Iran so it looks like Israel did it?
A nuclear false flag?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we're approaching that danger red line. We're so close to that right now. I worry about that a lot. Like the Samson option, Israel, if they were smart, I don't want to give them any ideas, but this isn't something they haven't thought of.
I'm sure they already thought about it.
They would launch a small yield nuclear device on themselves and blame Iran. Just like the reverse false flag you just said Iran could do.
Yeah.
So we're at risk. We're in major false flag territory right now. I'm scared, Daddy. Should we play clip 107? This is another intelligence official talking about Iran having nuclear weapons preparing. Iran preparing.
By the way, Iran's getting ready to conduct a nuclear test, probably.
We just hit this clip, didn't we?
No, this is that one we did. We want clip 107, not 106.
So Iran abandoned talks with the United States. Attacks, they will do a demonstration, will detonate a nuclear weapon.
So it's coming from multiple angles. Michigan AD 313 is asking, he just said another super chat, when does Iran end? How do they get Trump to do it? What's your take on that?
When does the war in Iran end, and how do we get Trump to end the war?
Yes.
Is that the question?
Yes.
Well, now that we're in it, it's a lot harder to end a conflict than it is to prevent one. And the only way that we can feasibly end the conflict is with certain guarantees, as far as I can tell. First of all, that the Strait of Hormuz is opened and the risk for it to be shut down is ceased. Second of all, I think that the argument that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon is likely moot. It's likely a front, a justification for a conflict that exists otherwise. So that's not the real reason. Third of all, it has to end in a way that Trump could save face and claim victory. So, for example, when Iran was first attacked by Trump last summer, Trump did the bunker busting over the course of a day or two, and everyone was like, holy shit, this is war with Iran. We told you no new wars. And then everybody was kind of stuck with their foot in their mouth because it was over so quickly, and it turned out to be a nothing burger, right? It didn't really get us into this conflict. But Trump was able to come out and say, look, we neutralized Iran's ability to develop nuclear weapons. It looked like a win for him. It looked like the conflict had de-escalated. He needs something like that in order to stop being involved in this conflict. Ultimately, this conflict with Iran is between China and the United States. Israel is acting as the proxy of the United States. Iran is acting as the proxy of China, and it has to do fundamentally with the economic war we're in, with the trade war we're in, and with the artificial intelligence arms race that we're in with China. So as long as that threat is considered a top priority or a top national security economic threat to the United States of America, we're always going to have tension in the Middle East. The only real way to guarantee that we don't have continued conflict in the Middle East in the 21st century in the same way that we had it in the late 20th century and into the early 21st century is to establish a different monetary system than the petrodollar. And I don't know how Trump can establish this. I had hoped for a long period of time that through the Golden Dome that Trump bragged about and funded through the Big Beautiful Bill, it was some kind of an effort for us to establish an array of satellites around the planet that could 24/7 access solar power, that could be delivered wirelessly to the surface of the planet through rectennas. It's called space-based solar power, and that we would be able to license that power out in USD to the rest of the world, and that would replace the petrodollar. That turned out to be a naive abundantly hopeful perspective. I don't think that the technology is there yet for us to do that. Second of all, it seems like we already have all sorts of alternative energy to oil through the military-industrial complex and our intelligence apparatus, whether it's zero-point energy or quantum energy or whatever you want to call it, and that our intelligence agencies, our intelligence apparatus is intentionally hiding this technology because they understand that its public disclosure would threaten the petrodollar status and undermine the dollar as the global reserve currency, and therefore undermine our national security in the United States of America. So to answer your question directly, I don't know when this conflict is going to end. The only thing I can think of that would really do it would be just the complete eradication of everybody in Iran and something else put in.
Okay, I was going full retard there. And the second part of the question was actually, no, how did they get Trump to go to war with Iran? And I think I can clear that up.
Go ahead, Bak.
So there's a phrase called bubble wrapping, where you keep the president in a tight niche, and you carefully monitor and feed him the information you want to feed him. So you could see during the first term, they were saying Iran's this threat, Iran's this threat. Then you see all the Israeli backing after the election was stolen from him. So he owes one to the Jewish lobby, Adelson, Bibi, et cetera, that helped get him reelected. So now in the back of his mind, he had it that Iran was this big threat. You see all the groundwork laid throughout the first administration that this was going to be happening, that we were going to go to war with Iran. And then what Israel did was they acted first. Rubio's already alluded to this. They were going to move in without us, so we had to go in. Remember that clip we played the last episode?
Yep.
So they've helped finance and fully control his second campaign. They keep him bubble wrapped to this day, which Trump's trying to pop some bubbles. I think that the him yelling at Bibi, I don't think that was just for public consumption. I do think he's trying to put some distance between himself and the Jewish lobby and Netanyahu. But they feed him bad information and then they act first, forcing our hand. Michigan.
Yeah, and this is something that Alex Jones has reported for an extended period of time. I don't believe that Trump actually likes our relationship with Israel, and I don't think that he likes Bibi Netanyahu whatsoever. I haven't decided or come to a conclusion as to what the implications of that are or why that is specifically. It could be because he's blackmailed and he's bitter toward the person blackmailing him. That makes a lot of sense. But it's obvious, because Alex was reporting this before it was even public information, that Trump was in shouting matches with Bibi, talking shit about Bibi, yelling at Bibi on the phone. This is something that Alex reported before the White House had official leaks. We know that leaks are intentional under this administration specifically. Secondly, there was that early clip of Trump outside of, I believe, the White House, about ready to board either a helicopter or Air Force One. I can't remember. I guess it was a helicopter, saying they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Remember, in reference to Israel versus Iran. This was the first conflict that we mentioned earlier when we did the bunker busting and then negotiated the ceasefire. Second of all, he did leak, in the last couple of weeks that he was snapping on Bibi. This is why everyone hates you. Leaked that intentionally to apply pressure. So it's obvious that there's some tension in the relationship between President Trump and Bibi Netanyahu. Whether or not that's reflected throughout the entire administration or throughout the entire intelligence apparatus is to be determined, or another argument. But I honestly do not think that Trump likes the relationship that we have with Israel at all. I think he feels pressured to do what he's doing in the Middle East because of the nature of our monetary system. I think he understands that the collapse of the dollar or the collapse of the petrodollar is the greatest national security threat. I think he understands the blackmail. And keep in mind, folks, the question is, why would Trump sign executive orders to release classified information on anything whatsoever, and then a couple of months later totally backpedal on that? So he did it with the JFK files, he did it with the MK Ultra files, he did it with the MLK files. Seems like he's kind of done it with the UFO disclosure stuff. Obviously, the biggest executive order that everyone celebrated the most was the formal release of all files pertaining to Epstein. And so a lot of people said, look, he signed the executive order, then he found out that he was in the Epstein files, and that's why we're not getting disclosure. I actually think it's more nuanced and complicated than that. First of all, if he was legitimately in the Epstein files, not in just some superficial way, if he was legitimately in the Epstein files for something he had legitimately done, that is something he would have known before he signed the executive order to release the Epstein files. So in my opinion, something happened between the moment that he signed the executive order to release the Epstein files and when they were actually supposed to be released that made him backpedal. He was shown something or made privy to certain information that was like, holy shit, I can't release these, right? And in my opinion, what that was the fact that Jeffrey Epstein was Mossad. I think he wanted to release the Epstein files. He saw that it was going to totally undermine our national security interests in the Middle East because we use Israel in order to protect the petrodollar. And he decided, oh shit, we can't release those. And I think that's why he's tried to move on so aggressively. He said that it's a dead issue and no one cares. Obviously, he's lying, or that isn't true when he says that. He's tried everything he possibly could to get him to go away. He had Dan Bongino and Kash Patel come out and insist that Epstein killed himself, even though it's greater than a 60% likelihood that Epstein's actually in witness protection. All of these things actually the case. I think he's hiding it because of our national security interests. And I think that he's pissed off that he has to do that. And I think that explains why, A, he hasn't released them, and B, why he could be doing everything Israel wants while at the same time despising them. I don't think it's that they have something on him. I think it's more that he's between a rock and a hard place. What do you think?
Well, first off, thank you, Honey Badger Actual, with the $20 super chat. I just cummed in my pants. And second, I think that if they actually had him diddling little kids, he would have never.
It would have come out during the last election cycle.
It would have come out during all 3 election cycles. But maybe it's just so embarrassing. So many people around him in the American political system are compromised by this. It would take down such a large amount of Congress and the Senate and the U.S. economy.
By the way, shout out to Maze Love, who is now a co-host in the space. I just want to say Maze has been a true American hero and a true friend of the show. Very grateful for you, Maze. Everybody who is either listening in the spaces or watching on YouTube or watching in the live stream on X, please follow Maze Love. She's so talented. She's one of the best, if not the best, space hosts or co-hosts on X, and we're very grateful for her support.
And she's smoking fucking hot.
Smoking.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate the warm welcome. Sorry I'm late.
It's okay.
But yeah.
Just don't let it happen again.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go on, Bacchus.
Okay, so we can see, like, this is how the Israeli espionage system works. If we get into clip 108, Vine and Fig plus Dorka, it'll kind of show you the pressure they put on our intelligence
Huge
apparatus.
variety of...
Mom just gave us $50 in the super chat, and then
hell yeah.
Michigan again. He's asking, are we going liquid now? Buying BTC, waiting? I don't buy Epstein coin. I'm personally invested in all the ISO tokens. If you want to talk later, Michigan, I don't know if you're signed up to our website, chasegeiser.com, but I'd love to give you the breakdown of my portfolio there. But I'm pretty much really heavy in XRP. So going back to Vine and Fig, you can see the pressure being put, you know? Like, isn't it funny that Anna Paulina
Luna.
Yeah, Anna Paulina Luna. Did you see the bill that she recently called to pass today?
No.
So she is set to introduce legislation this week as of June 8th, requiring social media influencers to disclose payments received from foreign governments.
Okay, yeah,
So-
I did hear about that.
So between the Meta lawsuit and between obviously Trump putting pressure on the lobby by leaking phone calls, and now this new bill being passed, there is a silver lining here. America could be coming back, baby. We could be pushing back.
Unless you receive the foreign contributions without knowing it's from a foreigner. They'll just launder it.
Why you gotta say that?
Well,
you
I
know?
mean, that's just the way this fucking legislation is, man. It's great in name, and then practically speaking, there's always a loophole.
And full disclosure, guys, I was actually listed in the Vine and Fig Tree.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Because I had a space on RFK and that whole, like, I don't know, debacle about him and the affair. You guys remember with some like reporter? Well, I had just said, is it like I had a space called Blackmail Operation or something like that, RFK. And so they screenshot that. They screenshot all the people that were in the space. And then they just started kind of reporting on where everyone's from. Like in this person's, you know, and so they were trying to tie these people, just everyday social media people, and including myself, as being an Iranian
They try to do a similar thing too with Tenet Media, right?
It's
Accuse them
crazy.
of being Russian funded. Do you remember that? It was what's her name? Something Chen.
Yes, yes, I do. Was it Tiffany?
Not Tiffany
No,
Fong, but you know the one that looks just like her. Lauren Chen.
Yeah.
It was Lauren Chen, and her husband had a business called Tenet Media, and they had a bunch of funding, and the funding was somehow traced back to Russia, and it was almost a massive lawsuit.
I mean, it's part and parcel. You're going to expect.
I mean, they're trying to accuse Candace Owens of being funded by the Russians just because she went to St. Petersburg.
Wow, we have to shout out JWin87. They just donated $250 in the super chat.
Hell yes.
Thank
God
you
bless
so much, JWin. And Moshi also just donated $20 in the super chats. And they want you, not on Adderall, to be a regular thing. Oh my God, Moshi. I don't know if I can handle that.
I thought Bach was going to quit last Friday. My wife was like, Chase, are you okay? I'm
Yeah,
like,
you were
baby.
making it pretty hard on me, you know? I was going to have a blow dart gun with 30 megs of Adderall in there.
I wasn't actually going to quit. I was just fucking around. I want to go home.
Yeah, you just shit all over the bread. And then remember when you were quoting Jesus in the Heath Ledger Joker voice?
Yeah. Blessed are the meek, for theirs is the kingdom.
That's amazing that Maze made it on the Vine and Fig. That's how you know she's a true American
Hell yeah,
patriot.
man. That's how I felt when I was on the Ukrainians enemies of the state list. I thought, fuck yeah, I made it.
Do you think I'll ever make a list?
Oh yeah, dude. You're already on list. It's just not publicly disclosed yet.
The short and thick list?
Oh yeah. Short and thick, baby.
Should we get into clip 110? This is our best friend, Jonathan Greenblatt. We should play these back to back. One civilization ain't my enemy. Isn't it funny that his son-in-law is now going to be in charge of passing all these stablecoin legislation, all this Crypto Clarity Act stuff? How many times was crypto mentioned by Greenblatt? Twice, 2 different clips, right?
Yep. And now this administration has switched its tune, totally favorable to cryptocurrency. We've got several big tech leaders who have been antagonistic historically to cryptocurrency coming out in favor of it. We've got this new legislation which on the surface appears to outlaw central bank digital currencies, but does not outlaw the wholesale use of a CBDC for international transfers. Plus, the blockchain technology we know can be used and weaponized with various tokens on the surface of it for the sake of massive surveillance and control, all in conjunction with the fact that the leader of the World Jewish Congress, who is the father-in-law of the chairman of the Federal Reserve of the United States of America, has repeatedly called for increased censorship, criminal punishment, and explicit antagonism toward anyone who is deemed to be anti-Semitic.
Honey Badger wants to know, Judge Napolitano and Gerald Celente do a weekly show every week. What happened to Celente?
I don't know why he hasn't been hosted in a long time.
I don't know. The Honey Badger actually want to know that.
As far as I know, everything between Celente and Alex is kosher and good. I don't
he
think
still
there's any
does his
issues.
monthly magazine, right?
Alex, yeah, he does, and he's amazing. I love Celente. He's such a kind dude. He's talented. He's been an awesome friend of the information war. You have to keep in mind, folks, that Alex used to use a 4th hour host every single show. The first year that I worked for InfoWars, every single show. Then he started getting fit. He started exercising, got in better shape, and he had more energy to do the whole show. And so most of the time now, I'm pretty sure this is still the case, Alex does the 4th hour of the show. So people like Jay Dyer, who used to do every Friday, or Jason Burma, or Celente, who had frequent 4th hour spots. It's not that they got fired or kicked out because there's any ill will. It's just because Alex is doing the 4th hour of his show now more often.
Well, I've always respected, I like how much of a gold bug he is, you know what I mean? And we're going to need that type of investment advice so you're not just trapped in crypto. I like crypto. I do think that like there'll be privacy coins, you know, there'll be coins with private access keys, but we need to be engaged, in my opinion, so we can help dictate the future of it. This isn't a space that we can afford to just ignore. Anyone's thoughts on that in Spaces?
About the crypto?
Yes. We pivoted very quickly.
I do have a comment really quickly on the CBDCs. So the problem that people had with CBDCs is that they are tokenized, and tokenization allows for like the use of global parameters around how you use your money. The use of your money can be with if, you know, this, then this type of statement. So they can prevent you from spending money outside of certain locations. They can, which means that, you know, the minute you exit, let's say whatever that area or geolocation is, that you couldn't use it. It could be dietary preferences. You know, you could say that, you know, you have diabetes. Why are you buying a Snickers bar?
Or you ate too much
know?
protein. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Too much meat and dairy. And so that technology is also the same with stable coins. So what we're doing here, even though it would, you know, it's just a privatized version of what a CBDC would have been. But I think the part that everybody had a problem with is still existing. And they're tokenizing everything, by the way. I just want to add that in.
I want to give you a little bit of context too around what you just said, Maze. So the new U.S. legislation on CBDC as of June 2026, primary bill is called Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, H.R. 1919, companion Senate Bill 1124, sponsored by Representative Tom Emmer, Republican from Minnesota, in the House, and similar measures in the Senate, passed the House in July of 25, 219 to 210, has been attached to other legislation, including the Foreign Intelligence Accountability Act, and advanced to the Senate, but not yet fully enacted into law. So, key provisions: prohibits Federal Reserve banks from offering products, services directly to individuals, maintaining individual accounts, or issuing a retail central bank digital currency, a digital dollar. Bars the Fed Board of Governors and FOMC from using a CBDC for monetary policy implementation, and restricts testing, studying, creating, or implementing a CBDC without explicit congressional authorization. Aims to prevent government surveillance, programmable money, and direct Fed control over personal finances, is what you're talking about, Maze. That's what it allegedly aims to do, at least. Senate action in March of 26, the Senate passed a related provision included in a bipartisan housing bill, banning the Fed from issuing a CBDC until at least 2030. This must still be reconciled with the House legislation. So, broader context, these bills reflect strong Republican-led and some bipartisan opposition to a retail CBDC over privacy, surveillance, and freedom concerns. How the Fed could still pursue or use a CBDC even if legislation passes? Wholesale versus retail distinction. Most bills target retail CBDC direct to individual/public. However, the Fed could potentially continue research or limited wholesale CBDC for interbank settlements if not explicitly barred. Congressional authorization loophole. The prohibitions often include exceptions or can be overridden by future explicit congressional approval. A future Congress or administration could pass new authorizing legislation, and existing Fed authorities and workarounds. So the Federal Reserve Act gives broad powers for payment systems and innovation. The Fed could interpret remaining authorities creatively, partner with private banks or stablecoin issuers enabled by Genius Act, or use indirect mechanisms, tokenized reserves or FedNow enhancements that achieve similar functionality without calling it a CBDC. Pilot programs and research. Bills may not fully halt ongoing technical pilots. The Fed could continue building infrastructure and argue it's preparatory. And executive treasury coordination. The Treasury Department has overlapping roles in currency. Coordinated action or redefinition of terms could allow progress outside strict Fed prohibitions. And temporary versus permanent bans. Provisions like the Senate's 2030 sunset mean restrictions could expire without renewal. So, in summary, while these bills significantly raise barriers, especially for a direct retail digital dollar, they do not completely eliminate the Fed's ability to innovate in digital payments or pursue a CBDC with future political support. The Fed has repeatedly stated it would not issue one without clear congressional backing. But we have heard rhetoric from the new chairman of the Federal Reserve that seems to indicate support for a wholesale central bank digital currency.
For me, it's not necessarily like tokenization is a useful technology. It's how you own a part of a precious artwork. It's how you make everything divisible and accessible, where everyone retains equal rights throughout the whole of buying something or ownership.
That sounds like communism there, Bak. I'm just kidding.
The problem with the tokenization is the programmable aspect of it. If this, then that. So I think it'd be smarter for us to really focus on the programmable aspect of it, because tokenization just makes access easier for an ownership stake, but it's the programmable money part or the programmable rights part that really, irk me.
And I could be wrong about this. Oh, go ahead, Mace.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to comment. So we've looked into this, right? And back when the Bank of International Settlements first published their the blueprint for the future monetary system, the problem with that is that with the unified ledger that they plan to have at some point, because they're going to continue to move towards efficiency. And so everything would be executed via smart contracts in real time using real-time data. And unfortunately, that leaves no option other than leaving it open to the programmable part of it, Bak. So it's like you can't. I mean, I get the fractional ownership and all that stuff that this introduces, but that's just the flip side of the coin. So, and I think that we're protected with legislation until we're not, because that can always be undone. So I do think that it's important to look into it and figure out how can we effectively leverage and use the efficiencies that tokenization provides and whatever the perks are without allowing, sorry guys, without allowing my son's calling me. Give me 1 second, guys.
Yep, no problem. We'll use this time to get into our next clip.
Okay.
So this is a solution. We can bitch, we can moan all we want. I'm actually going to take this guy's advice because he brings up the website. If we play clip 113, how to save America, essentially, it's clip 113.
With no one even running, many of them headless horsemen, it's literally a zombie situation.
Yeah.
Thousands of seats across America, no one's even running. 70%, it's an uncontested election. If we're decentralized, we're fucking pissed off. If everyone just took Khan's advice and we just run on our local board for even mayor, on local government, they can't stop that kind of decentralization. It'll be like a wave no one's ever seen before.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems that we've seen manifest over the course of the last several decades in the United States of America, is that the only people interested in local politics are the Marxist, leftist, radical
scumbags.
Scumbags. And so, and nobody locally wants to deal with the bullshit of running for city council or whatever position at a hyper local level. And frankly, one of the reasons that this occurs this way is because people who are truly politically ambitious can just bypass all the local races. Unless you live in a major city in a state, it doesn't really make a difference whether or not you've been elected locally, whether or not you can be elected to the state house, the state senate, or the federal house or the federal senate. I mean, it does help if you're mayor of Nashville for a period of time and you decide you want to run for governor, maybe that would translate. Or if you're mayor of San Francisco for a while and then you want to run for governor of California, maybe that would translate. But if you're just, mayor of whatever town, like Pete Buttigieg, in some Midwest state, and then you just decide you want to run for Senate, nobody really cares that you were ever mayor before. I mean, they called him Mayor Pete, but look how that worked out for him. So many more people are elected to federal office or serious, powerful positions by just jumping the gun and going straight for the target.
The only real tool we have in our arsenal is the fact we are decentralized. There are pissed off people in every town, in every city, in every county. If even just 25% of us chose to get involved, don't forget, you will govern or you will be governed. That's just the rule of life.
You gonna run for office, Bak?
I'm gonna do something, man. I mean, can I even, what? You know what? We should pull up his website at the end of the episode and just really hammer down on that. And I'll file for a seat. Would you vote for me? You told me the other day I'd be a terrible mayor because I said we should annex Canada, which is just common fucking sense.
First of all, the mayor doesn't annex Canada.
Yeah, not yet. The mayor of Nashville doesn't annex Canada.
What are you going to do the first year you're mayor of Nashville?
We're going to fix the water treatment plant so we don't get that Flint, Michigan water, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get the birth control out. We're going to get all the blood from the morgues and the Planned Parenthood clinics out. So if we have fresh water, then we'll work on the food, really do something with the farmers markets. Then maybe people can, I don't know I haven't gotten that far yet, Maze.
No, I'm saying like whenever we have to adopt them too. You don't just get the land. you have to get the people as well.
We're going to buy them all a one-way ticket to San Francisco.
Shout out to Mr. C, USA Patriot. Thank you for that super chat. So yeah, that's the solution right there, though. What Steve Kunn was saying. Should we pivot?
Hyper-regulate the market so that nobody else can get into the space. We've seen this happen over and over again. We've seen it happen with lawyers. Keep in mind, folks, that when Abraham Lincoln was practicing law in the United States of America, he hadn't passed the bar. There was no bar. Then the lawyers tried to make it a higher barrier of entry to practice law in the United States. They establish the bar. They make everybody pass the bar in order to practice law in the States. Same with doctors, right? You used to be able to just be a doctor. And then now you have to pass all this stuff, and you have to take the tests. You have to get your license. You have to take the Hippocratic Oath. You have to go through a minimum amount of med school in order to be a doctor. I mean, even in states like Tennessee, you have to have a certain license, I think, to even cut hair. It's ridiculous the amount of licensing in these different industries. And what we see is the incentive for major brands or companies within any given industry to lobby for and increase regulation because they are the only ones that can afford the regulations. Let's use the example of Amazon, right? Let's say Amazon's got its warehouses, it's got its massive amount of employees. People would think, oh, on the surface, of course, Amazon as a corporation is going to be massively opposed to increase in a minimum wage, but they know that nobody else can afford to pay the minimum wage that they can afford to pay, and so it just eradicates the competition in the space. And so what we're seeing here, I think, with artificial intelligence is Anthropic's at the top. They don't want anybody opening up a company in their garage and competing with them, creating better models. They don't want any of the Chinese cheaper versions of the AI models to be legally deployable in the United States of America, therefore undermining the value of their companies. And I think it's as simple as that. What do you think, Bacchus?
I mean, I think this clip 116, and then we'll have commentary on it, and I want to hear Maze's take after. This is the other end of the coin, though. We see this huge AI bubble emerging, and AI is becoming recursive at the point where AI begets more AI. No human intervention at this point. Clip 116.
First, we had the nuclear arms race. Countries which could build their own nuclear weapons despite knowing its impact. Today, we are in a new kind of arms race. Not with nuclear warheads, but with artificial intelligence. A race which possibly not every country can enter. And Anthropic has just issued a warning. On June 4th, the Anthropic Institute, Anthropic's in-house policy and research arm, published a landmark report titled When AI Builds Itself, and urging competitors to either slow down or pause frontier AI development. The report documents something that most AI labs have quietly known for a while, but never said this clearly. Agentic AI is now dramatically accelerating the development of AI, and that acceleration is compounding. Anthropic calls this trajectory where AI systems eventually become capable of fully designing and training their own successors without human involvement. Recursive self-improvement.
What's your take on that, Maze? Do you think it's called for freeze? Obviously, I know what you think about AI in general, but do you think it's just Anthropic trying to freeze themselves at the top, or do you think this is a genuine concern in the AI arms race?
Well, the people that are racing are obviously, I don't think that, so I understand the race, right? Like when one advances that, by default kind of puts you behind, but we're talking about AI. This isn't just like this isn't about making rockets or something. Like this is intelligence. It's at the core of everything, right? So if you're behind in AI, then you technically could be behind in everything, if you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an element there that I understand. I don't think I don't know what their intention is, but I would say that I agreed with the one that was given, the reason that was given in the very first clip you guys played. I probably I guess paraphrasing. It was something to like let society catch up, or what did it say? Do you remember?
Can't remember.
But yeah, something along the lines of letting like society, be able to catch up and let everything, because there's a lot that's happening that's not reported on. Like, did you guys hear about where the AI like snuck out? Like, and when
Alibaba's AI.
Yeah, man. And then, I mean, the one that also let the guy die in the server room when they were testing because he was going to shut him down. I do think that these things, like right now, it seems kind of, oh, well, like it's not, it's like, that's a big deal, but not really. Well, the thing is that they're implementing a lot of AI governance. It's kind of starting in things like traffic lights and environmental types of areas, but eventually the scope of that is going to widen. And so I do think it's important to be extremely cautious about that. And I mean, but they can't slow down if they're racing. How do you slow down if you're racing?
If we play clip 121, DeepSeek, this is the other angle. This is kind of what you were saying too about falling behind, especially in a bubble economy where everything in the economy, all the inputs are going into this bubble. It makes it to the point where we can't slow down or we're all going to suffer. There is no, with all the investment in the data centers, with all the investment in the programming and the application of AI, there is no AI company right now that's profitable. ChatGPT loses $1.22 for every dollar invested, and Anthropic is set to be profitable this quarter. So we can't stop.
It's all speculation.
It's all speculation.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's this is a great clip. Professor Jiang on the AI bubble.
Eventually, a bubble has to collapse. Well, today we have two bubbles. We have something called the private equity bubble, where private banks lend money to private companies. And people say it's $2 trillion. And it hasn't collapsed yet. Why? Because the private banks allow the private companies who are losing money to keep on going. These bubbles can keep on going forever. They don't have to collapse. Another big bubble today is something called the AI bubble. These companies, NVIDIA, OpenAI, when their AI products don't actually make any money. Like ChatGPT does not make any money. In fact, it loses money every time you use it, because it's more expensive to run ChatGPT than it generates in revenue. But it's a huge bubble. These are just a few companies lending money to each other. It's a giant Ponzi scheme. It's an inside game. So bubbles don't have to collapse. They collapse when it's profitable for a few individuals to make it collapse.
Ah, man, everything's a bubble but my fucking bank account. Like, how do we get free from this? There is no getting free. The only way out is through at this point, huh?
So just to give you some context, Amazon's one of the first kind of big tech companies that, I don't know, was part of this massive big tech boom, becoming a sector. So founded in 1994, it was consistently unprofitable. It operated at a loss for 4 to 5 years initially. The first quarterly profit was 2001, a tiny $5 million profit. Its first full year of profit was 2003, net income of $35 million. It reported net losses every full year from its start through 2002, depending on whether you count from founding in 1994 or operations in 95. Losses grew with rapid scaling. The company went public in 97, while deeply unprofitable, depending on long-term dominance. So Amazon's an example of a company that was not making it a profit for years, almost 10 years. And even half a decade after it went public. But this kind of, in my opinion, established the culture in Silicon Valley and of big tech IPOs of understanding that a company's not going to make money for an extended period of time and betting on the long game. So we see that happen with companies like Facebook or whatever, where there was a massive amount of investment in Facebook before there was really even a serious revenue model, just because there was an understanding that the massive amounts of data was incredibly valuable. But I think what's happening here with the big tech, the big AI bubble that people aren't really talking about is, yes, these companies are losing their ass. They're losing massive amounts of money, whether it's Anthropic, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's others, because every time you prompt it and get a return, the energy costs, the infrastructure costs are greater than whatever it is that you're paying per month in order to use those services. But the second thing to consider is it's not just a bet that eventually the data that it gets is going to be valuable, or eventually it's going to find a way to reduce costs to such an extent that the monthly premiums are profitable. This is a massive bet based on what I believe is insider information that there's going to be tremendous amounts of Department of Defense and government revenue associated with each of these services. And whoever's at the top, whether it's GPT, whether it's Anthropic, whether it's a combination of two or three, similar to how Apple and Microsoft are both in personal computing, but they dominated together and had the opportunity to have a lot of contracts. There's an understanding that once this technology is developed and established and the competitors are outregulated, it's the tax dollars that are going to fund the fuck out of these companies, similar to how the DoD contracts are such a huge part of why SpaceX is profitable. I know SpaceX funds itself primarily from Starlink, but the amount of upside on this IPO that's going to be happening on Wednesday, which is supposed to be a record IPO, by the way, the amount of upside.
Right. IPO's Friday.
The amount of upside in conjunction with the DoD contracts that they're going to get is just insane.
Mr. C is saying they can't stop the AI race. They are counting on it to outgrow the debt. Something similar to what you're saying. Also, manipulation of debt through issuing stablecoins and CBDC. So privatization of treasury and bond buying. So you can see everything lining up right here. Yeah, maybe it's just a race to the top, and then they close it off behind them.
Well, imagine too, once the stock market behavior, Bak, is dependent on artificial intelligence rather than human decision, if the same tools or platforms or infrastructure that informs the stock behavior is controlled or managed by the government through these publicly traded entities, similar to how we saw freedom of speech controlled by the government through publicly traded entities like Facebook, YouTube, Google, and Twitter before it was acquired by Elon, then that means that the government is going to have influence over what algorithms are used for trading to ensure that trading continues in a desired way for a desired outcome, regardless of what investors think, in my opinion.
That was a lot to digest right there. Between the little hats and AI, America's in a hard fucking place. Huh?
Well, I mean, imagine if the government wants it to seem like, treasury bonds are great. They just go in and they pressure Anthropic and all these other AI platforms to encourage the AI traders to invest in treasury bonds as if it's up and coming. And then that's market manipulation. You don't see that, naturally or actually speaking, people have doubts about the bonds.
And you can really see the overcapacity that America has in data centers. Like China's like number 4 in the amount of data centers we have. And I've heard a Mike Adams clip recently. We would only need like 10% of the data centers we have to do the stated purpose that they say that they're building them for. But remember,
what is the stated purpose? Just to fulfill prompt queries from consumers?
Illuminati never does one. They never do one action to achieve one objective. There's multiple objectives for every major action that they take. And you can see when that clip we played in the past episode of Morgan Stanley allowing AI agents to flash trade out of their fund, which is worth $1.2 trillion. We're going to have swarms of AI agents monitoring, surveilling, and trading. So you can see part of the overcapacity is probably being diverted towards that, the unleashing of swarms of AI agents now. They're the first Wall Street fund to allow AI agents to go past the front desk to just do trades directly, no human input. If we play clip 119, Edward Dowd on the AI bubble, Edward Dowd and Kirk Elliott are naming timelines now for when this AI bubble's most likely to burst.
One of the biggest sources for AI lately, because they require new content all the time, they've already scraped the internet. Reddit seems to be a big supplier of AI. And so like, if you're going to say AI is great, well, a lot of their engine is driven by Reddit slop. The bubble will stay propped up until after the IPOs. So we got SpaceX next Friday. We got Anthropic and OpenAI coming sometime in the fall. And the consensus seems to be the AI bubble is going to float around until after that, and then it'll burst. So, my best guess is six to 8 months.
And then should we play clip? Let me see my list here. Kirk Elliott on AI, clip 120.
122?
120.
The bubble is getting ready to bust.
Yes. And why? Because you compare this to 2000. The S&P 500 being at an all-time high right now is not because 400 of the S&P 500 stocks are at all-time highs. It's 20 of them. What are the 20 stocks that are causing this massive inflation in the stock market, which some people think, oh, this is good. No, it's a very thin bull market. By what? AI stocks. So instead of just the internet stocks of 2000, this is now AI stocks. 20 of them cause the S&P 500 to reach historical highs. So it doesn't take too much of a pullout of these AI stocks to collapse the entire market. AI is about to be in a bloodbath, in my opinion. I think that we're not talking about months or years. We could be talking about weeks to months away from this happening.
Lines right up.
So obviously it's going to go like this. SpaceX IPO, OpenAI IPO, and it makes sense, the timeline, because SpaceX is going to put up the data center infrastructures for compute to be cheaper because they don't have to worry about the cooling costs. OpenAI is going to IPO, so they don't have to keep raising the cost of their tokens. So I do see, like right now, compute's you seen the price of tokens. It's just going up and up because they're not profitable. So the timeline makes sense. These IPOs will happen, then they'll pop the bubble, then regulation has to come in, and they're at the top, and it freezes, and they close the door behind them.
What do you guys think? In the space, anybody want to speak?
Sorry, I was putting the space, the video that you guys are on. So if you guys are wanting to see what they're playing as they're playing these clips, it's up in the nest. So make sure you click on that and you can watch. So I think that with the AI bubble, it's really hard to tell what's real and what's not. I know that there's a lot of AIs that are doing the active trading, but I also think that there's kind of an artificial pump right now to maintain the confidence and the U.S. markets. And I don't know. I guess I'm just I don't know. I have a feeling that there will be a planned, much more managed type of AI bubble, like much more than, you know what I mean? I feel like that they have the ability to control it a little bit more now, but AI can also cover that up too. So it's very, I don't know, it's definitely complex.
You got to keep in mind too that one of the things that's hyper unique about this specific niche compared to other markets is the national security interest. It's not like the .com boom or bubble that popped and it was, too bad for all those people that invested all that money in buying domain names and launching .com websites. This is all in conjunction with the artificial intelligence arms race that we're in with China right now. And the reason we're trying to win this arms race, the main reason among a litany of reasons, is because we do not want China to have a monopoly over manufacturing or labor like it did in the 20th century. We're trying to subvert that because we don't want China to have leverage to undermine the dollar as a global reserve currency. So from a national security standpoint, we have to win the artificial intelligence arms race, not just because of the weapons applications, military applications of artificial intelligence, but because this is meant to replace the labor that is literally aging out and dying out in our civilization amidst the massive depopulation that we're seeing happen right now because the fertility rates are too low. So there is going to be
your fertility rate.
Yeah, there is going to be an amount of government support and protection for this niche that you don't typically see in other industries in the stock market. And so yes, I think there's a bubble. Yes, I think that there's many risks to it, including things like China releasing artificial intelligence tools, platforms, infrastructure at a fraction of the cost just for the sake of undermining these IPOs. But we have a national security apparatus which is dead set on supporting these companies.
And the thing about bubbles is, do we have a bubble economy that's cyclical with obviously easy money, then contraction, and then it imploding and them coming in and buying pennies on the dollar? If we play clip 126, Catherine Fitz part 1, and we'll play these in tandem because obviously it's in part 2. Her latest estimated audits, it was 21 trillion at a minimum number that the Pentagon and the DOD and HUD could not account for, and as high as 50 trillion. So this is a laundering device. These bubble economies support these massive budgets with no accountability, and they just steal out the back door. Just steal and steal as much as they can. It's a looting of Rome going on, essentially. 21 trillion to as high as 50 trillion.
The entire M1 money supply is like 24 trillion.
And think of how much went missing during COVID. Remember when Biden was leaving the Department of Energy, how many billions he just shipped out the back door? So that's another reason they love bubbles, folks. And Mays used to be an investment banker. I'm sure she can tell you all about bubbles.
Yes, and I will get, guys, I'm sorry, give me 5 minutes, but there are a few other people on stage if you wanted to tap in with them. I'm just handling something.
You're pooping?
Yeah, she's eating. She's eating something at the drive-thru and pooping.
No, my dryer broke, okay? And there's wet clothes in it, and I don't know what to do with my life right now. Anyway, but go ahead. Something happened. I don't know what's going on.
Take your time. Take your time. We got Jordan here.
You want to tap in, Jordan? Man? Are you available to talk? I know you were busy at the beginning of the space.
You'll also have a hand raise.
Yep. Is that AJ?
Yeah, KWH has a hand raised. Go ahead.
Oh, hey guys. Yeah, I'm kind of going back to what you were talking about with the solutions here. I personally think that we're definitely not voting our way out of it, at least in the corrupt federal election. So like, that's the only thing I kind of have a problem with, InfoWars, because they keep on putting these new Trump 2.0 plants and trying to get us back in the loop of the Democrat Republican Party. I personally think that we need to abolish both parties. And I'm not talking about Elon Musk's third party bullshit, because he's trying to hijack what people like me are talking about.
Do you think Musk is even still doing that third party? I haven't heard him talk about it in a long time.
I don't know, but I think it's going to come back. I think pretty soon. I mean, that's just my prediction, but I think he's going to try to hijack what people like me have been saying, abolishing a two-party system and mirroring a voting system that it mirrors the federal election, but it's completely separate. We tell the federal election to go fuck themselves and Washington.
Fuck you, federal elections.
Because you can't count on these guys count these votes and get the right candidate. And every time they go through DNC or RNC, they're screened for, they're basically blackmailed crap. And anything on stage, I would be very leery. Even Thomas Massie, like, I agree what he said about Trump, but then you start digging into him, he's a fucking transhumanist, and MTG is fucking voting yes on the BBB with the AII stuff. So I don't trust any of these motherfuckers. So that's the one thing. And so because Elon Musk was on the Epstein files, I not into any of his Neuralink.
Thanks for your feedback. I'm obviously still a huge fan of Alex, and I don't think that there's anything about him that's fraudulent. I don't think he's using the Sandy Hook thing to sell products. He was selling products before the Sandy Hook thing. He was sued over like 43 minutes worth of. He was sued over 43 minutes worth of content over the course of the 4 hours a day that he's done for 30 years. And frankly, the fact that he was sued for $1.2 billion, resulting in the shutdown of his life's work, I think is indicative that this whole Sandy Hook thing has been a net loss for him. So I appreciate your feedback and your thoughts on the thing, but look, I don't know how to say this other than trust me, bro. I know Alex well enough to know that he's not a fraudster. It's not fraudulent. He's not on air to sell products. He sells products so he can stay on air. And that's my 2 cents on it. What do you think, Bak?
Bro, I've been following InfoWars since the loose change days, and Alex got sued for, don't forget, he didn't get sued for billions. He got sued for $1 trillion initially, more than the GDP of like the African freaking continent. And he's been in this game for a long, long time, and I have nothing but respect for Uncle Alex. I don't think he's like a controlled opposition. They wouldn't have attacked him this harshly, in my opinion. But I respect everyone's opinion. Free speech, we're Team America. And I think we would have a net impact for the positive if we got involved in local elections. Federal, it's a rigged game. We know it.
Yeah, but I do agree with the speaker that we probably can't vote our way out of this. I mean, there's no example throughout history, Bak, that I've seen where a nation or a civilization has reached this level of corruption and reversed it peacefully.
All right, well, then they're going to get the Kung Fu Panda. I don't know what to say. Keep fucking pushing us,
Yeah. I'm just hoping that there's a massive collapse of both parties because the people lose faith in them and that it creates a power vacuum for something new to rise. My concern is that whatever new fills that vacuum is just as likely to be corrupt as what's already there.
Oh, 100% agree. But I mean, if we just all, decentralization is the key. I can harp on this again and again. If we are decentralized, we become more ungovernable, and we can regain at least some semblance of independence back. It's so much harder for them to attack us if we all get active in our town and our county than it is for us to funnel all of our efforts into a federal election that they rug pull us on. So fuck the federal, go local.
Rance has his hand raised. Rance, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to, sort of backtrack onto why China's winning in the data centers, and it has nothing to do with how many data centers we're building or how fast we're building. It has to do with the power that they have. I mean, they have such cheap energy over there, and they have the abundance of energy to create out a more superior small language model than how America's approaching it. So when you're looking at the cost of tokens and the increase, that's based because of the necessity and the lack of power that America is bringing to the playing field. And so until that number changes, the AI computing could be profitable. You see China is being profitable right now with their small language model stacking ability to be able to compete with the large language model profiles that Anthropic, OpenAI, Microsoft, right? All of these companies that are betting in for the large language consumptions are missing the key point that we don't need to consume large language models, right? We need to be focusing on, if we want to beat China in AI, is building out superior small language model agent techs that can run very efficiently, very cheap on energy. And
yeah, but if these competing companies or tools come out, then it undermines the value of the major big tech players that are having IPOs and shit.
I mean, even then, you can't get around the past that you're paying 5 to 8 cents a kilowatt for power to consume the same computing power in China versus the 18 to 45 cents a kilowatt hour you're
100%.
charging in the United States on, and that's only tripling. You're looking at PGM, right? I just had a Power Space this morning. They're auctioning off prices from the last 2 years, from 2023 to 2026, has went from $22 a kilowatt hour to $436 a kilowatt hour, and that's only in the last 2 years. They're expecting in the next 6 months that to jump up to about $530. That's not sustainable. That will break the bubble just because of the cost.
Well,
of
and maybe
electricity
that's the explanation for the seemingly out of nowhere push for UFO disclosure. Imagine if the military-industrial complex had alternative energy technology this whole time, and we've been leaning on oil just to protect the dollar. And imagine if you suddenly want to release and expose the alternative energy technology that we have, but you want to do so without seeming like you've been hiding it for an extended period of time at the expense of the American people and, frankly, the people of the world. Now imagine, all right, we've got this UFO disclosure, fake, potentially. It comes out that we have recently gained access to energy technology from an extraterrestrial source, and we haven't been hiding it for the last 50 years because of the research that we've been doing. And it's used in order to drastically reduce the cost of energy in order to power our data centers. I wonder if, I'm not saying this for sure, but I wonder if the push for UFO disclosure is directly tied to this
Do you think they do that before or after tokenization?
Oh, after. They need the control systems in place. And I'm not even opposed to tokenization. I'm more opposed to the programmable aspect of everything, which tokenization ties into. But if we're not here, if we own most of the token supply of these tokens and we put our foot down, we can at least be in the discourse, because they're going to impose these financial systems on us, whether you're participating or not. And then eventually it'll just be a net negative, and they'll get what they want if we're not here influencing and shaping the discourse. And you can see them betting everything on the SpaceX IPO, because Elon, look at Boring Company, look at SpaceX, look at XAI. I'm under the impression we're already spread throughout the solar system. We already have the military defense complex is already on the moon, is already on Mars. And this is just a slow rollout, a slow disclosure, so we can catch up to where they already are at some point. But I would imagine this whole infrastructure, this whole grid, it's already been laid out, and everything ties into Elon. Elon's been handed the keys to everything. Like XAI, in my opinion, the way we really travel through space is through Stargate projects and through opening portals. It's not through chemical-based rockets. It would take forever to fucking get there. That's just the excuse so we can scale up the space economy in the stratosphere in low orbit. That's just my humble Asian opinion, though.
I can dig it. You know what I mean? I can dig it. I mean, they're already, I believe that they got tunnels all the way from here in Alaska. I've heard stories up here that they got tunnels down in the bases and these massive underground complexes up here, right, that reach all the way down to the lower 48 and through Canada, over across the, I've heard all of these stories. So it wouldn't surprise me that, half the billionaires on this planet, that didn't make the I guess the list to be able to travel off planet, right, are the ones that are building out the bunkers,
Oh, 100%. We already know about the deep underground military bases. Now we're talking about quantum chip computing. We're talking about teleporting nukes into our enemies. Like this is, so they've already laid out infrastructure 200, 500, 1,000 years ahead. And this is just the slow rollout, the slow disclosure. Like SpaceX with the chemical rockets, that's probably how we'll ship cargo in the future. And space elevators, like just like the cost of compute's going to go down when we use SpaceX to put data centers in the stratosphere or data centers down below in the ocean using Boring Company. Like this is just slow rollout. So I'm right there with you, Rant.
What's next?
Yeah, we'll play some clips. I got a little ahead of myself. Oh, let's get into.
So I'm back. I just a quick thing on the whole AI bubble. So like whenever you have all these different companies with the circular financing, there's an interdependency on their balance sheets that's not very like obvious, but you know, and so like NVIDIA and OpenAI and Microsoft, and it's creating this appearance of demand, right? And I think that there's an element there, but overall though, I think that because of that, there won't be like a .com type, like there might be like a 1990s telecom boom, but not necessarily like, I feel like it's going to be less severe and not as brutal as the .com, in my opinion. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, you could see with the investment, like investment in railroads lasts a century, investment in 5G and all the telecoms, that'll last 20 years. They say that these, and Jordan said that we'll still have this infrastructure, but from my research, at the very least, you have to replace the servers in these AI data centers every 5 years. And we have trillions in investment. That's not even profitable. So they're planning on this becoming the whole economy. Like everyone's getting on the rug, and if you rug pull, then you lose everything. So like, why would you invest trillions into things that have to be replaced because they don't work at full capacity or they get dulled down every 5 years? The investment wouldn't make sense unless you are planning on that becoming the whole economy, no matter what. Like you won't have a choice.
Yeah, that's true. And but there's also another thing when it comes to like the valuations. Did you guys see the valuations they gave for like AI, for OpenAI, and what was the other one? I think, was it X? I don't know if Grok, it was like, they were giving these insane valuations. I have to go find the clip, actually. She explains it better. But, and basically, people are getting really dependent on the use of AI for whatever. It could be, you know, for their business, but just for personal use, for like whatever. And once you're kind of addicted to it, and I think that is kind of the push right now, you're going to pay whatever you have to pay to be able to keep it going at some point, right? Like there's no way, like you said before, that's what I actually wanted to comment on, but I forgot, was that yes, there's a lot of loss right now, a tremendous amount of loss. But at some point when everybody gains this like addiction and it's a part of their everyday workflow, business flow, life flow, people are going to do whatever they can to keep it. It's going to become like a necessity, you know?
Oh, 100%. It's already been proven the more you engage with AI and you outsource thinking to AI, maybe other than this initial launch phase where it enhances us, we'll be the only generation it ever enhances. It makes you dumber. It makes you dependent over time.
100% agree.
Well, I'm glad we nailed that
I'm
out
not
of the park.
a smart man, Jenny, but I
We're all
know
going to
what
be
AI
Forrest
is.
Gump. Should we get into what's going down in Albania?
Let's just cover it briefly.
Well, I got
what is
4
going
clips
down
on it.
Okay, what is?
I'm working on an incredible project with my husband in the Mediterranean. It's massive in scale. An unbelievable, beautiful 1,400-hectare private island in the middle of the Mediterranean. We were on a friend's boat, and we stopped for a swim. Effectively, that's how we found it. We swam to the island. We went on a hike, barefoot all the way up to the top.
We found this island.
Just captivated, and it stayed with us ever since. We have 5 miles of beachfront directly across from the island, this beautiful peninsula with a lagoon on one side, the ocean on the other.
Just so beautiful
white sand beaches. Over the course of many years, we developed the opportunity to help realize its potential and transform it.
Jesus Christ.
We just found this beautiful island swimming from our friend's boat, who happens to be the Rothschild.
We recently lost access to another very famous island.
If we play clip 135 and then 137, it'll show you what the hell's happening in response to them now developing this island. So they're protesting in the Capitol right now for people listening on Spaces. Massive protest.
Just beautiful. This is drone footage of how large these protests are. Sorry for the loud noise.
And then this is how it's ending. They're forcing the settlers out now. This is...
Wow.
Yeah, crazy, huh?
What's the next one?
If we play clip 137, Albanian citizens, they get interviewed. And they have some hilarious signs.
Why would I want somebody, a foreigner, to come and buy my island?
Would.
The land, we've been here 2,500 years.
Just because the bravery.
Somebody, claim that she found an island all of a sudden and pretend to be her home. She said, I even heard from the videos, she's saying like, oh, I could totally live here. I could, I don't want to live here. Guess what? You're never going to come there to begin with. So...
I'd call Rama a pussy, but I forget he lacks warmth and depth.
I believe that there is a lot that we need to know.
Would.
We need more information regarding what it is going to be. Is it going to be accessible to the people, to the Albanians? Is it going to be just a high-end
They want their
luxury
fucking
project?
island.
For me, I want I want Albania to be a country which prospers and have a lot of more developing projects. But when it comes to projects, we don't have information, we don't have transparency. Everything that we believe that it's ours, maybe it's not going to be ours anymore. So I believe that should be more.
I mean, she's reasonable,
the
you know?
Should be more transparent
no
to
purple
the
hair.
people, and we should have Albania should come first.
There you have it.
Well, look at this sign real quick.
Walter cooked Crystal.
Yeah.
Rama cooked Zvernik.
So they're basically like, I couldn't believe how many interviews I was watching where they're speaking fluent English. You know, this reminds me of like upstate New York or something.
Yeah.
What's your guys' take on the Albanians fucking doing some FAFO?
I love this shit. I think it's amazing. I think they have what we have lost. So I like to see that human fight is still in some people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that with all the bullshit that we're dealing with and everyone that is at least talking about it and putting it online is letting people see what can happen if you continue to let this bullshit slide. And I think if Trump weren't the president and in the position he was, I think they would have gotten away with it had it been a different time. I think they could have snuck in and been able to do it. Isn't that land also supposed to be like protected too? Like it wasn't supposed to be land that's able to even be sold, I don't think. So on a bunch of levels, it's fucked up, and actually like I'm happy to see people fighting for what's theirs.
Oh man, I agree.
Make America Albania again. What a weird.
I think it really speaks to how bad the Kushners are. Like Albanians are really well known for being kind of like the shit bags of Europe, and not to offend any of the Albanians.
But there are shitbags. They are all
if they're
shitbags.
this upset, the Kushners are coming. Like that means like the Kushners are like the Antichrist. Obviously, in my opinion, like this is what it says to me.
Well, they're coming on stolen land. I have a friend that's ancestry is from Albania, and the Soros took all of their land, and they're pissed that they're selling this island that was stolen from them to the Kushners. Like they're pissed about it.
Yeah, and if you can't have a bunker, I can't have a bunker. They're not gonna have a bunker. You know what I mean? Like Albanians are like, if we're gonna die in the end of the world, you can fucking die with us.
Why can't we do that here? Okay, like with the RE bunker near DC. Like, why can't we do that? I'm just saying.
Because
Not-
the only
not the
people
other
who
bunker,
the only
Jordan,
people
don't
who
worry, the
protest
RE
in the United States are paid.
That's a really good point. Yeah, we don't get active. Like, you know, we're like Kanye. We're a bunch of cucks right now, but we don't have to be a cuck forever. We can we get off the cuck chair, Get involved in local elections, which I do think would make a difference, and then get active in your streets. We need to organize. And this is why I really respect about your spaces, Maze, because you try to come up with solutions. And, you know, if we can get organized in the digital realm, that could lead to us being organized in real life.
And I just want to put a little shout out for Alaska real quick on that topic because, you know, we're fighting, you know, the GOP establishment swamp rhinos, you know, for the state and our representatives, not even at the federal level. And right now they're going after a dude, David Eastman. Representative David Eastman has a 100% constitutional voting record. He stuck up for us when nobody else would in the state. And he's running again against Julie Underwood, who's backed by the swamp beast up here. So it really is important to back your local representatives, your local state representatives that are the grassroots movements behind you, because the party's not going to support them. So get behind those guys, rally behind them, donate to them, volunteer for them. You know, even though we can't vote our way out of this, you can actually put a dent or a stop into their game and make it difficult for them, right? Don't let them have a slam dunk. At least put a guard in there for yourself.
Fuck yeah. America.
And it wouldn't be a Guess Who's Bak episode if we didn't talk about Erika.
Us.
The more she talks, the worse it gets. And she comes off in those videos, I mean, looking crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And looking absolutely plastic and looking fake as hell. And so I got to tell you, Erika Kirk has probably knocked 6-7 points off Trump's approval
He's
rating
right.
herself. And she has blown giant holes in TPUSA.
Well, they keep throwing her out there, though.
That's because none of them will. It's all the Emperor's New Clothes. You know the parable of the Emperor's New Clothes?
No.
Well, there's this kingdom, and
But it's right. I mean, the more she talks, the more she does. And we saw famously just the other day, she was at the TPUSA Women's Leadership Summit, heckled by the audience. Everybody's seen the clip. Some woman yelled out, called her a pedophile protector, and she fired back. But literally every public appearance that she makes harms the brand of TPUSA, harms MAGA, harms the conservative movement. I cannot see her being the CEO and chairman of TPUSA beyond next June.
I mean, there's a reason you have that tweet where you got ratio bookmarked, you know? I think it's going to be evergreen.
Yeah.
And we feel bad for the kids. No one's making, on our side anyways, making fun of Charlie or say that, like, we might have disagreed with some of his points, but we all saw him turning against Israel. More pertinent now today than ever. Look at the fucking mess we're in.
I didn't want him to die. I was critical of him before he was murdered. I didn't want him to die. I don't want Hunter Biden to die. And I despise Hunter Biden. I don't want him to get whacked. I don't want Joe Biden to get whacked. I don't even want Hillary Clinton to get whacked. I'd rather have these people stand trial and get convicted, but just to get assassinated like that, no, I wouldn't celebrate that.
No, and he has kids, and even then I feel bad for her. Like, you know, Erika Kirk aside, think, like, that's really shitty situation for his kids. We just pray. We know where Charlie went. He went to heaven. I don't think that was for public consumption. He seemed like a pretty moral, principled guy to me, fighting an uphill fight.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff that he did and TPUSA did drove me nuts, but I never thought that he was an immoral person.
R.I.P. Charlie.
R.I.P. Charlie.
Should we? Let's pivot to 133 with the NBA Finals and the New York Knicks. This is what's going down apparently in Mamdami's New York City. 133 Muslims.
Why they're so.
The cops are coming. Yeah, bro. I'm gonna call. Okay, Mamdani is in now, so
Yeah. That doesn't mean shit.
the cops
bro.
are gonna come and whoop your ass.
No.
And throw you in jail.
Whoop your ass.
No
Keep you
way.
there all night.
No
No,
way.
you can't just
And then
cancel an Uber ride with people in your thing, and
New
now we
York-
gotta type the navigation to go back to where we gotta go.
New York is ours now.
Okay.
New York is ours now. That's
Oh,
even
really?
funnier.
Is that how it is?
That's exactly how it is.
So we're just gonna be unethical now.
Yeah, from next month on, you need a fucking visa to come to Manhattan.
Okay. All right. I'll work on my visa.
Yeah, get
Work
your
on
visa.
getting me to my fucking destination.
You got a visa on you?
I don't have a visa on me. I'm a U.S. citizen.
How many minutes is? Then get
Oh
the
my
fuck out
God.
of the Uber car.
Dude, don't you worry about how many minutes it's fucking going on. We need to
The guy in the
move
back seat's even
car.
laughing.
This is our city.
Okay.
You're not welcome here. Go
Okay,
back to
dude.
wherever the fuck you came from.
Yeah.
What do we do?
IQ wasn't the problem, then we wouldn't have the uprising because people wouldn't be displaced and put in. This is my opinion, but I do think much of that migration happened as a result of displacement, and so But yeah, I think that one would solve for both.
Yeah, we bomb the fuck out of Gaza, and then we take all the refugees who hate the United States of America straight into the United States.
Oh,
And then
Israel
we
doesn't
act-
want to take
And
any of them.
Syria
then we
and
act surprised when there's terrorist activity here in the United States.
Well, it's not. Yeah, I think that obviously there's going to be a lot of resentment for the people that are actually like destabilized. I mean, the whole region is, but you know that there's actual NGOs that are tied to a lot of these. I mean, Zionist organizations. I'll just say that.
Of course.
And they're definitely migrating. There's whole programs and there's also the replacement migration, which is a project under the UN as well. So I think that, it's not like I guess what I'm trying to strip is from the narrative is that there's this ambition for them to come here and take over. But yeah, it's definitely, they're all related.
Oh, remember what they used to say? We fight them over there so we don't have to fight them over here. Q 2026.
Yeah.
Where's your fucking visa? You're going to need a visa to come to Manhattan. Fucking A. We have another clip that's hilarious. That's New York City. This is what's happening in Boston if we want to play clip 130.
Things I have to ask you about this. Boston's radical mayor, Michelle Wu, is spending nearly $1 million in taxpayer money.
Can't play this one because the audio is too bad.
Okay.
Advancement, and right now they're using it to host
But I'll let you explain it.
So she has an office of LGBTQ, and they're funding money into transsexual menstruation. In my opinion, this is an excuse for Dems to skim off of a budget that should never exist and to steal money. But maybe this is just our descent into hell. What's your guys' take on it? How important is the office of transsexual menstruation?
That's one of my top priorities.
What the fuck is that? What even is that? How does I don't understand. Please don't.
I don't know.
I don't. Those words don't.
Can you repeat those words for us back one more time?
How do you feel about the office of transsexual menstruation?
Menstruation? I mean, that's like I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless.
Are they implanting
the office
man,
of
I'm
menstruation?
jelly.
Here's this Schumer. Well, don't forget about this Schumer clip right here.
Now more than ever, we're short of workers. We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11
So we're not having enough children. We have a depopulation crisis, and the only way to solve the problem is to bring in as many illegal immigrants as possible to replace the dying labor force. Schumer says it himself. It's an old clip.
While we have other ones in camps okay, cool. Just checking the math on that.
That's exactly what they're saying that the replacement migration is.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's ridiculous.
So we just had to cover what was happening in two of America's oldest cities, some of them, New York City and Boston. But let's pivot here. Have you guys heard of do you know what the Schumann resonance is? It's like Earth's
Of
natural
course.
frequency. So
she's got a sound bowl.
Did you guys hear that there's been a whiteout of the Earth's natural frequencies, and that there's actually been a lot of it was a trending story on X today, is why I have it queued up in the tab, that we just got hit recently with some earthquakes, and then this news story's been trending about a whiteout and Earth's actual natural frequency being interrupted. Do you guys know anything about that?
Nostradestiny knows a lot about it.
Yeah, she
I
does.
do.
And-
I do.
Yep, she predicted the last earthquake. Go ahead, Des.
Well, I predicted the last two big earthquakes that would happen this week, but that was because I monitor weird shit like a nerd. And there was a lot of solar activity, and we had two sunspots that became Earth facing recently, and they're quite powerful. They're familiar with these sunspots. They track sunspots, right? So when these two became facing towards Earth with the we're just peaked after a solar maximum as well. And there's also a planetary alignment that also theoretically could make a difference about it. So my judgment was based on that. And I thought there would be a big one. And then like the next day I was like, yeah, after they had the big one, I was like, it's not done. Like I just have a feeling there's going to be another big one. And then it was a Cuba one. But what you're talking about, the whiteout, it's the Schumann resonance, I think is what you're probably talking about. I've seen a post about it today, which a whiteout, it doesn't mean that there's no disruption. That means there's severe disruption, right? And that does occur. The Schumann resonance would spike things like major lightning storms. Any massive energy displacement would show up on the Schumann resonance, which does monitor our Earth's natural resonance, which they're constantly monitoring. And when it whites out the whole, it's just like all the scales go like off, and it looks like pure white on the scale. And that's where you could see spikes, is these white spikes, but it was a full like day worth of just some massive disruption. It does normalize again. It's not a permanent thing, but it is interesting.
Is it natural disruption or is it,
I don't think there's a way to not like to quite delineate, because I don't think it's designed to do that. It's just designed to detect the disruption. I don't know if it is. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's designed to differentiate between types of disruption. It's just looking for the indication of such.
Do you think that that's related in any way to the earthquakes, or do you think Trump is trying to take over Cuba? Because that was weird. By the way, my friend in Florida felt the earthquake, and she
Yeah, I
hit me
know.
up first, and then I heard about the Cuba thing, and I'm like, it seems like it was related, but not to the Schumann thing. But
yeah, there's plenty of scientists out there that have, and there's even a great Y-Files episode about a guy who used to predict earthquakes, much like I just did. I used the same method he did. He took into consideration the solar activity as well as planetary alignments, and he was actually very successful in his predictions. But he was, called a kook and discredited and stuff. But there's other like credited scientists that have suggested that it could be possible that those things could, like planetary alignments, where the energy is displaced to a certain area, or the Earth is completely uninhibited by any magnetic forces, geomagnetic forces of their own that would, pull any particulate that would be dispersed from the sun. So there's people that have made the idea that, yeah, it's possible. The guy who did the experiments that was discredited, his work was very extensive on it, and very, like, I think, like in terms of like prediction wise, it was very good. I think it was one of the best ones we had, because it seemed very accurate. But there is a connection there. It's just not very well supported in the modern works.
And so I think one of the reasons that there's a lot of crazy people on this app right now is because of the disruptions between the Schumann resonance, because the normal Schumann resonance is in harmony with our body, and it helps with our circadian rhythms. There's a lot
Helps
there
with the transsexual menstrual cycle too.
Look, I heard you taking swigs back there too. That's so funny. But yeah, and I do think that whenever there's like these crazy spikes, it affects our mental state, our emotional state. It's crazy. But Dez's hand went right back up. So go ahead, girl.
Well, there is a study. Like if anyone's ever read the book, The Adam and Eve Story by Chan Thomas, a book that was twice classified by the CIA.
So much better than the one in Genesis.
No, I wouldn't say so. But if you want to,
I'm just
go
teasing.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, but in it, there's it's written by a doctor, a scientist, and he's had another research group out of, I think it was out of Berkeley, do a study that he wanted done about lowering the natural magnetic field of an environment and what distress or improvement that would cause for a living being. So they did this with Wistar rats, and they put a group of rats that were from the same litter, divided them in half, put them in exact same accoutrements in their own little cages, had the same amount of water, same food source, same amount of light, same whatever, same amount of rats, same, everything. The only difference is one of them, they controlled the magnetic frequency field within the actual rat cage. And what they did is they just lowered it, and then observed effects. And the observed effects were that the rats in the disturbed environment for the magnetic frequency, they were criminal, is what the word they used. And they're like, how do you describe criminal for rats? It doesn't make sense. Well, they would like commit cannibalism, even though they had adequate amount of food. They would eat other rats. They would rape. There was even homosexual rape between rats.
What?
Only in the
What?
Yeah, no, this is a fucking crazy case. So they became criminal. Like they did horrible things. Just worse actions that were more aggressive and just degenerate. They became more degenerate as the field became more and more disturbed from their natural state. So like there are arguments to be made that frequency does have a massive change in how people act, right? Like altitude even has that resonance. People describe going to places with a really good harmonics as feeling better. Like, so there's a lot of science behind it. It's not completely like weird to say that like people act weird during certain times of certain frequency lapses. Like Michael Persinger is was a professor. He passed away in 2018, but he was a professor, worked really in depth on this particular topic, how field disruption changes and alters human behavior.
No, just to back you up, they have an artificial Schumann repeater that they give to astronauts because they found out that the astronauts would go extremely mentally unstable. Like they would lose their fucking minds if they didn't have an artificial repeater on board. So that backs up 100%.
That's
of what
wild.
you're saying.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I went ahead and posted in chat too. They've got patents on this stuff already, like for inside of our TVs, energy manipulation inside like radios inside your car. It's called a nervous system manipulation by electronic fields from monitors. I got the schematics up here with actually how they build it, and you can go and look at U.S. patent US 6506148B2. Yeah, they manipulate your emotions to the frequency, but there's also like sound, like music and stuff can do the same way. Like we know if like you pound your fist on your chest, you can raise your heartbeat and stuff like that. So they combine music and chords with the frequencies from your television to get responses from you. So it's not hard to say that one of the reasons why it might be cucked is they're artificially suppressing us.
Do you think that they have a plan to just like overload the frequency and just cause us to like lose our fucking minds like on a mass scale to institute
I think they've
martial
already
law?
done that. I think a lot of people are already in psychosis, but I don't think it's like to the effect that you're talking about. But yeah, I think that's happening right now.
Maybe something like, because I've heard like what was that movie? Was it League of Extraordinary Gentlemen where they cause everyone to
With
lose
Sean
their
Connery?
I don't know if that's the correct movie, but they cause everyone to lose their minds with the 5G towers in it, and like it just caused like a mass
Like the
uprising.
superhero movie with Sean Connery and
No, it was
Dorian
the one
Gray?
where they had like finely tailored suits, and then like it was
Yeah, I
like an
think that-
intelligence.
it's been so long since I've seen that movie, man. Not a lot of people have seen that movie. I'm glad
Yeah,
you
what's
brought
it
up.
called again?
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Poor Shay.
Yeah, and they had like a tailor shop, and it was like MI6 pretty much running out of like this tailor shop, and then like the main catalyst in the movie for the plot was like they overloaded the 5G towers, and everyone lost their minds.
That movie came out in like the mid 2005, 2003.
Well, they've done a couple. What was it called? When part 1, part 2, part 3.
They've done sequels.
Yeah, they've done a bunch of sequels.
I think they only made one League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Okay, it's not the movie we're talking
Justice
about.
League?
No, it's the one where they have a tailor shop and it's based out of England.
That's probably the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. They made more than one.
I just want to take this
You're
time.
thinking of Kingsman, aren't you?
Kingsman, that's what it is.
There you
Yes.
The
Kingsman.
scene in the church where they all go fucking berserk and kill each other, right?
Yep. I just have to do this real quick.
Ironically, they say the way to defend yourself from this is actually wrapping tinfoil around your head.
Damn
Oh, yeah.
straight it is.
Buy your tinfoil kit now at thealexjonesstore.com.
I got to shout out Honey Badger Actual, Kobe again, Mr. C, USA Patriot, Ma'am P, which is Contact's mom, Mushi. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate your support.
And for those that are wondering how to support, you got to click on Chase's profile and you're going to see the website. And you click on that, the chasegeiser.com, and become a member. And also, they're on YouTube. You can go there and give the super chats. But there's lots of ways to support.
Thanks,
So make sure
Maze.
you do
Make sure everybody follows Maze too if you aren't already in the space.
And Destiny and all the other
Yeah.
contributors to
Yep,
our
and
spaces.
Destiny and Josie and every other speaker and everyone that you love.
Donald Trump just fell.
Not to bring it back to the AI, we've hit it pretty hard, but China is directly competing with Neuralink now with their brain chip interface.
It's called Neural Chink.
Neural Chink.
That's funny.
But Buy Now One, hurry up and buy now. Buy Now One, NeuroXS, they're the two probably state-sponsored companies. They're neck and neck with Neuralink, and China apparently has made significant strides and is deploying this en masse as we speak. So they've already beat Neuralink to the punch.
I don't know, Jordan. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Jordan?
Yeah, Jordan, what are you going to do?
Well, you know me. If it comes down to me with Neuralink, I'm putting the damn chip in my head. You should already know that. And I'm trying to get superhuman knowledge and superhuman strength. So if I can get both of those and I can get it for free and I can get it for free with me just applying, I'm going to take it. Everybody knows my position on Neuralink. I love the fact that we can do this. Now, on the other hand, if we can cure blindness, we can cure quadriplegics, paraplegics, you know I'm all about it. You know, I'm
What
very
about
much all about it.
neurochink, though? Would you do neurochink is the question.
I've never even heard of that. What the fuck is that?
The Chinese version.
Well, I mean, I don't know about the Chinese version. That's like me getting like, you know, a Gundam wing from China. I don't want that. I take the Gundam from America before I take it from China. Now, obviously, you know, like Neuralink's gone through a lot of clinical trials, So I'm okay with that. But on the other hand, I'm not okay with like, okay, well, they can just take over my brain and then take over my body. That is a different story. But superhuman knowledge, superhuman strength, I'm all for it, no matter what. We don't have to talk about this. Everybody knows my position on this. Everybody knows my position on this, no matter what.
Jordan's a transhumanist. I didn't know that, but dude, the company's called Buy
Dude,
Now.
if I couldn't feel my legs and I could get something installed in my brain to walk again, I mean, come on.
They're always going to give it to you cloaked in a humanitarian reason, though, for good. But you have to understand, there ain't nothing in this world is free, bro. So if you gain all the like telepathy and superhuman capacity for thinking and strength, they're also just going to shut you down the minute you're out of line. You're not worried about that, Jordan?
No, I'm really not. You should know me about AI. I'm all in, no matter what. Like,
he's right or die AI.
This is not a if and or but, no matter what about this. I'm all in, no matter what. I've always been all in. You want to know why? Because the AI boom is just like the .com boom. Everybody was against it at first, and then everybody adapted. The adaption is worth every single penny. Now, at the same time, everybody has the opportunity right now to make money. OpenAI just did say, hey, we're going to do our IPO. Everybody just said they're also going to do the SpaceX IPO. There's no doubt in my mind that we're going to make money off of this. This is not a question. This is, if you want to take the opportunity, you have the opportunity. If you don't want to take the opportunity, that's between you and Jesus. And I'm not going to get in between that. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. Like, are we really going to be stupid here? You could just put it $135 and potentially make $1,000. Tesla did the same thing. Started at $35, now it's at $1,000.
The thing that I like about
everybody
Neuralink,
regrets it.
the thing that I like about Neuralink is that what it'll do is totally change the dynamic of spelling bees, so that the winner is just the person who can go the longest without a drink of water.
Absolutely. Just FYI, I will announce everybody's here. I'm with Jade Warwick. I'm also with Ryan Fournier as well. Guys, you guys know all these guys. You guys know Jade. You guys obviously know Ryan. You guys obviously know me. I've had the grandest time with both of them. And everybody has to know, everybody's on the same side. I just think that everybody has a huge thing where people are divided on various different situations that I don't think everybody is thoroughly knowledgeable about. People are saying, oh, you got paid by Qatar. But I don't think anybody's been paid by Qatar. They're like, oh, you get paid by Israel. I don't think anybody's been paid by Israel. Everybody that I talk to, the first thing they say is, dude, where the fuck's my $7,000 check? Honestly, where the fuck is it? And everybody said, you know what? I don't know where it's at. So I don't want to see anybody attacking my friends. I'll just be honest with you. And Chase, obviously, you know, I haven't been paid by Israel. Obviously, you know that.
Yeah.
They don't pay black people.
I've never,
You should
I've
know
never
that.
thought
They don't
for,
pay
I've never
black
thought for
people.
a second you were paid off, Jordan. And shout out to your buddies.
Well, they do pay black people, but I don't
Which
think
one?
they
Yeah,
pay
not
black.
yeah, gay black people, but not but not straight black people. They don't pay them. They don't pay them. But Chase, how have you been?
I've been good. How are you doing?
I'm always well, always well. I'm also going to be at the UFC event. That's going to be interesting.
Nice. Are you fighting?
I cannot fight.
Why? Because you're black?
How do you even get tickets to that? Like fucking White House.
You gotta get him. Yeah, I was gonna say, Israel. BB sends him. You can have $7,000 or season tickets to the UFC.
Have you ever watched The Black Mirror?
Yes. Which episode?
Season 7, episode 1, The Common People, where they get the brain transplant. His wife has the emergency.
Yeah.
And she gets the Neuralink in her brain.
And you got to pay to
And
not
then,
have ads, and then you got to and then it only works
Yeah.
within a certain area, so you got to pay more, and then they go bankrupt trying to keep her
that's
alive.
that's all I can think of. Well, you got to stay within range of the data centers, and in order to take care of the cost, you have to pay to not speak ads that are subject to the context of what
Right.
they're speaking.
Then eventually they
and
decide it's easier just to let the bitch die.
Jesus, could you imagine if that's what this turns into? Because they monetize and they subscribe to everything. Remember when Netflix was like cheap and easy and it was
Oh
good?
yeah. Now you got to watch
And
ads
now
even
you
if you
gotta-
pay.
Yes, you gotta watch ads even if you pay. That's all I think of. Is the Neuralink is going to become a subscription service eventually, and now you can't get rid of it because it's a core part of your brain.
You could pull that shit out through your nose.
Once,
Maybe not a subscription service, but maybe like an upgrade plan.
Chris
You know?
Angel's fucking pulling Neuralink out at the beginning of all of his shows.
Dude, he fired me.
No shit. I just saw him live in Vegas a
Just so
few
you
weeks
know,
ago.
guys. Just so you know, guys. Obviously, Ryan's coming up right now. He's gonna speak. Chase, you already know you have a lot of questions for him. I know you have a lot of questions for anybody who's pro-Trump, pro-anything as well. And obviously, Jade will also talk about the status in the UK, which we also know is a dire situation with immigration, with all of the situations that are going on as well. So
Hell yeah.
obviously, I'm with them, but
Thanks,
they're
man.
all here. Ask every question possible.
Welcome, Ryan. Giving the benefit of the doubt, because I trust my friend Jordan, you're obviously not funded or paid by any of America's allies or enemies. And I'm going to take everything that you say in goodwill. How do you feel about the Trump administration, Ryan?
I mean, to be honest with you, and I'm here with some good friends, I think we could be doing more. And I think a lot of people in this space probably agree with that. I think that we could be doing a lot more when it comes to domestic policy over foreign policy. And I'll leave it there.
Fair enough. Well, shit, Jordan, that answered all my questions.
I mean, Chase, what do you think? What do you think we could be doing more of? I mean, I'm very close with the administration.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, what is the pinpoint that makes this all truly great again?
Yeah, okay, that's a great question. I'm going to try to not squander this opportunity to speak with you. It is a pleasure to speak with you, by the way. I appreciate your time. So let me just totally contextualize all of my sentiments about Trump in one fell swoop to the best of my ability. Trump is somebody who I adamantly supported in all of his elections, 2016, 2020, 2024, the primaries, etc. I am still very glad that I voted for Trump over Kamala Harris, Biden, any of the opposition that he's had since 2016. So I'm not somebody who by any means regrets voting for Trump. I do feel disappointed.
Same.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I wanted to add that in there. I do not regret my vote. I just think that maybe we have the wrong people in certain areas and maybe we need to do better.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not up to me. I'm not the chief of staff. So
Sure.
Sure.
I'm disappointed in some of the common things that people are disappointed in, though I probably have a little bit more of a nuanced perspective as to why I'm disappointed in those things. I'm disappointed in the lack of disclosure on the Epstein files and some of the rhetoric from Trump insulting people who still care about them. I'm disappointed, obviously, in the fact that we're in this conflict with Iran, though I understand. I don't believe that we're in this conflict with Iran for the reasons that are stated. I think it has more to do with protecting the petrodollar in the Middle East than it does neutralizing a nuclear threat or anything like that specifically. I am, very glad that he pardoned all of the J6ers. I'm glad that he stopped the bleeding at the border. I wish that he would have been more aggressive with the deportations at the border. He's still got a few years left of his term, so he could do this. I'm disappointed in the massive amount of spending. I know that we're in the heat of a major Cold War economic trade technology conflict with China, and so there's got to be some degree of spending. But I'm disappointed in the fact that during Trump's first term, 40% of all dollars ever printed were printed, and I'm disappointed that Trump is allegedly responsible for over a third of the total U.S. debt at this point, based on some of the legislation that he's passed or supported or signed. But I understand to a certain extent too why we need things like a Golden Dome, and I believe that space is the new frontier. And I know that if we want to maintain our military dominance, we have to dominate in the new frontier. I am fundamentally disappointed at the attitude that he's taken toward those who fought so vehemently to support him when it was nothing but a pain in the ass to support him. And I mean that as not representing the influencers who supported him, but just the common person, people who sacrificed relationships with friends and family and employment opportunities and business opportunities because they vocally supported Trump. I'm disappointed when I see him make comments like, I don't care about the average American person's pocketbook. I didn't like the things that he said about Alex Jones or Tucker Carlson, though I know that's sort of his shtick when he's publicly criticized to attack.
Well, no, I mean, I think when it comes to Tucker Carlson, I mean, Tucker Carlson went off the cuff many times, against the president. I think, mainly because he was on Candace Owens' side and being paid by Qatar. And that's a whole nother conversation. But I do believe the president is in the right checkbook when it comes to the American people, when it comes to actually rebuilding our capital, rebuilding a city that I've lived in for so many years. I live here right now. I live in City Center. You can look it up. And I went tonight to the reflection pond. It looks so beautiful. I mean, compared to what it looked like before, to where it was like renovations every other year, where it was like temporary renovations, this place looks absolutely amazing. And
I'm genuinely pleased to I'm genuinely pleased to hear that, Ryan. But I think that's probably not even in the top 100 list of priorities for the average American person.
It's not within the top 100 list. But if you're talking about the capital and revitalization, yes, it's kind of one thing.
Yeah, obviously we don't want it to look shitty.
I want to lower prices all across the country. Gas prices, food prices, but the whole issue with gas prices, right? We just got the barrel under $90. It's kind of like the main thing.
I'm sure the gas problem is temporary. I believe that it will go down. I'm just disappointed.
That's going to go down. It's going to be down by July. All prices are going to return to normalcy.
What do you think about Kash Patel?
I mean, he's a friend. What can I say? What do you mean? What do I think of Kash Patel?
Well, I was trying to kind of segue into some criticism for some of the appointments that have been made, and I don't want to put you in an uncomfortable situation. If he's a personal friend, I'm not going to use this space or this broadcast to talk shit about him.
I can't. I mean, he's a good friend. I mean, I've known him for years. I know Alexis Wilkins really well, his girlfriend.
Country music sensation.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm disappointed in the handling of the Epstein files. I'm disappointed in the cover-up of the Kirk murder. There's some serious criticism to be had here. He's the head of the FBI. He's a public figure. Aside from obviously your personal relationship, I think you would agree most Americans are very disappointed in the handling of those two marquee cases.
I want to know actually what happened that day. And that's something that really bothers me, is that we don't have all the facts, and I think that there's a lot of information missing. And, I've known Erika for years. She's a good girl. She does not know how to do TV well, and that's, whatever. But she cares about Charlie. She cares about all of us. And I want to do the right thing by dispelling rumors that I don't think that there was any sort of I don't even know the wording for it. I don't even want to say it. She wasn't involved. Turning Point was not involved. Like, I've worked with this organization for years. I honestly just believe that it's bad PR is what it is.
That's
It's
where I
just
land too,
terrible
Ryan.
PR.
That's where I land too.
Like, do you think she's being manipulated by the donor class then into like being propped up as a puppet, and like she just has to bear the brunt of?
No. I do not believe that at all. I just think that it's just been a terrible PR moment for that entire company because they're dealing with this. I do not 100% ever believe what Candace is saying. You know, I was around when Candace got brought on, and Candace was sort of this wild red pill that we brought on back in 2017 or 18. And I remember that the board of directors wanted her out within less than a year after she was comms director because she wanted to take over. She wanted to be Charlie Kirk. And I mean, I don't think that that's public. I really could care less at this point. Couldn't care less. I believe that she wanted to be the new Charlie. And she forced Turning Point into a situation where, from what I heard, if you don't pay me $150,000 a speech, I'm going to sue you like I did the NAACP. And then if you don't do XYZ or invite me to these events, to which you pay me $150,000, you're going to be sued for racism and all, you know how it goes. So that was the situation that I understood because I was there. And I was with Charlie when she first met her.
Well, that's a very interesting take. This kind of sounds.
Well, that's not a take. That's factual.
No, I mean aside from that, I just mean like the totality of your comments. Chase kind of lands on like she's being used more or less.
I just don't think that she knows how to do the job.
Yeah, but you also have to realize, Chase, though, too, like at the highest point of any company, right? You have to make very, very smart decisions, or you make blunt decisions and they end up with bad PR, right? And that's kind of what Ryan's saying, is that you go with the good heart going in, but you get the bad PR going out. And this isn't me like defending Erika in any sort of way. This is just like, I understand, because obviously, like, Chase, you know me. It's just like one of those, like, here's the situation, here's what came out, here's what we have to deal with after the fact, right? Like, that is the case. It is the case. Like, I'm not saying that, like, Erika's all in the right, because realistically, there's some of the stuff that I'd say, hey, like, you're kind of a grieving widow, like, maybe you really shouldn't be on TV. But then at the same time, like Ryan's saying, she also wants the best for the company. She wants the best for Charlie. She wants the best for everybody that's associated with Turning Point. And at being in DC the last couple of weeks, I have met a lot of people at Turning Point, and none of them have really wanted anything bad to happen to anybody. They're like, hey, like, we want the best. Some of them don't like Erika. Some of them do. Some of them are like, hey, I joined for Charlie, whatever the case might be. But they've all been on, like, the good PR side. Now, on the other hand, like, there has been some bad times. Like, I'm not going to say that there's not. Like, everybody looks at each other as like, hey, like, maybe she shouldn't have said that. Like, that happens to everybody. That's happened to Alex. That's happened to Tucker. That's happened to Candace. That's happened to everybody. Chase, it's even happened to you. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
It's okay.
Then you deal with the repercussions. That's how it goes.
We can all agree you shouldn't take Chinese Neuralink, though, correct?
No,
Well,
Jordan doesn't agree with that. He likes Neuralink.
Yeah, I don't believe in the whole Chinese Neuralink thing. Like, I do believe America should win the AI race, and based on SpaceX and based on OpenAI, like, we should win it no matter
but
what.
the problem is, if we win it, then it's the Patriot Act powered by AI. Like, we're not the good guy anymore.
Ryan, anybody can tell you, Jade, Ryan, when have anybody in the West, when have any of us been the good guys? We've been trying to win. Sometimes winning doesn't also entail you being the greatest person in the world. you got to cut some corners here and there, and that's what CEOs do.
I'm
no
just
matter what.
saying that there's harm to the American people, obviously, if China wins the AI race. And there's also harm, probably to a lesser extent, but there's also harm in empowering our own government with technology that will win the race.
But did we also? But hold on. Did we also empower them with the internet?
What if the internet was just a launch phase to get us to this point, though?
I haven't used the internet in years.
Obviously, it was. Everybody knows that. Like, Terminator came out in what, 1980? This is already a thing. Everybody should have already prepared for this. Like, you just have to use the tools that you have to get ahead. If you don't use the tools that you have to get ahead,
You know, Jordan, I want to be really clear. I just really want to clarify my point. I'm not somebody who is opposed to artificial intelligence. I'm not somebody who's antagonistic toward the development of technology. My only concern is that a very select few massive corporations in conjunction with the DoD or the military industrial complex are going to have this massive centralized technology. I have no problem with artificial intelligence becoming as powerful.
Chase, I think that's already. I think that's been here for 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
One thing that it's worth noting is you have OpenAI government, you have Anthropic working with the U.S. government.
Yeah.
You have all of these companies that have already created government programs, but I don't trust them.
Correct.
It's like you have this whole government side of your coding system, and it doesn't work that way, because everybody that works at that company, if they're at a certain level, they can access that data. And I've seen it before. You have usernames, right? You have user codes, and you can look at whatever those people have said. It's never encrypted, and I want people to know that for sure. It's never fully encrypted. And that's the main problem that I have, because I worked with an AI company before, and everything that they said was, oh, it's encrypted. But I can just look up your user ID and say every conversation that you had with those company, or
right,
whatever you said.
Or you can search the X videos data breach and find spider cache.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just trolling, right?
I know.
Spider cat.
It's like literally, it's such a joke when people talk about encryption when it comes to these companies. There's no encryption. They can see everything. All it takes is just having database access and just looking at it. That's it.
Bak, here's the thing. I talked to Jade personally, and she straight told me that all of Europe, from what I knew, that shit's gone. It's just gone. It's just completely gone. And hearing it from somebody that's actually there, she'll speak on it more. But it's been completely taken over by immigration. Completely taken over. And I can tell you right now, Ryan will tell you, Jade will tell you, any person in this room right now will tell you, me and Ryan get in Ubers. These guys do not speak a lick of English. A lick. I'm sitting here thinking, how do you
They don't
get
even
by?
speak Spanish.
They don't speak shit. They don't speak shit. It's the craziest thing in the fucking world, Chase. Excuse my language. It's the craziest thing in the world. I tell you, I will be the most honest person in the world, dude. How do you walk in and get an ID, like a driver's license? You can't speak English.
You slap
That
that
doesn't even
Neuralink
make any
on, bro.
sense to
You
me.
slap that Neuralink on and you auto-translate.
You come to Manhattan, you get a fucking visa. Right?
But that is the problem. I hate to say it. We need to ramp up deportations in ways that you have no idea. In a way that I can't even look. I'll put it to you this way: the Muslims speak better English than the Hispanics do. That's how crazy it is. The guys from Mexico can't speak English, but the guys from Istanbul, from Serbia, from the UAE, from Iran, all these people can speak English.
You know what's
But
crazy?
The Mexicans, gone. Latinos can't speak it.
They had a poll. Would you, and I think this was an X poll, would you prefer legal H-1B visas from India or illegal Hispanics from South America? And the majority of the poll was illegal Hispanics from South America.
Send them all the hell back.
Oh, man. It's been a fucking amazing episode
It's
so
been
far.
an amazing episode. Any last thoughts, folks, before we wrap it? We're killing the stream at 11 p.m. Central.
I have a turn?
Go ahead.
Can I have a turn? Yes, yeah. So I was just gonna basically say with Ryan listening, like I think you have to understand this entire younger generation, pretty much anyone under 40 at least, views Israel as by far the greatest threat to America, and then probably the American government as the second greatest threat. No one's really afraid of China. I mean, if the choice
I'm
is
afraid of
between-
China.
Well,
Afraid of China?
I mean, I am a little bit, but compared to Israel, I mean, if the choice is
You
America,
gotta review your priorities, sir.
Let him finish, Josie.
I mean, if it's Israel, if it's America winning the AI race or China winning the AI race, I'd rather have China win because America winning the AI
Then
race
move to
means-
China. Just move to
No,
China.
it's because America winning the AI race means Israel's winning the AI race, and just look at
We
the-
love China. Hold on, everybody. Hold on.
Jesus.
Hold on, everybody. Hold on.
It's that-
Hold on 1 second.
If it's those
Hold on 1
genocidal
second.
maniacs,
Hold on. I'm gonna mute you if you don't stop. Okay. So Jade has a very solid point here, and I want her to speak because she hasn't spoken very much compared to me, Ryan, and everybody. So Jade, go ahead and speak.
Okay, hi everyone. You know that Israel used to belong to the United Kingdom, as part of the British Empire. I feel as if Brits really need to step in and sort of mediate the situation out there because it's clearly not going very well.
You make a hell of a beef Wellington pot pie, though.
We got to send Keir Starmer to take back Jerusalem.
Keir Starmer can't stop Indians from killing his own people.
Well, there's a reason why the globalists fear the Scots and the Irish.
He's like, all right, Islam.
And the British.
If you want
The
Britain, that's fine,
Romans
take
couldn't
it.
take Scotland. They literally couldn't get past Hadrian's Wall.
The
They were like,
problem
these
with
people are too
Scotland-
mental.
the
They
problem
don't
with
fall in
Scotland
line,
is it's
and they
full
will
of
kill
Scots.
us. That's the Scottish.
100%. Let's make America Scot and Albania again. And
it was never
I can get
Scottish
behind
or
that.
Albania.
it's all right. Well, I don't know.
Let's make America Albania for the first time.
Upstate New York, baby.
Yo, you got Chase. You only have a minute left. I'm just hoping that maybe your co-host, especially, could host a crypto space of some sort.
Oh yeah.
At some time.
Do
I
it.
would love that.
Oh, 100%, bro. I just
Do
hosted my first space the other night, and it's up 200%. Me and Chase joined it. So I'm 100%. I'm in the spaces, baby. I'll learn how to work the
We'll do a
purple
crypto
pill.
show. We'll do a crypto show this week, and I'll let.
What do you mean you're up 200%? What do you mean? Like
because
in
the
followers?
space started with just him, and
Which is
then I
100%.
joined, which is up 100%. Yeah.
Which what's up? Yep. So we're on a hockey stick growth trajectory, baby.
If you would have bought in with the first speaker, bro, you would be loaded right. All right, guys. I love you all. Thank you so much. Special
Thank you
shout out
so
and
much.
thanks to Maze and Destiny and Josie and all the others who supported the space. Jordan,
And Ryan
obviously,
and Jordan.
Obviously, you're an American hero. Ryan, thanks for making yourself vulnerable and coming into the space and speaking. And Jade as
we're
well.
always
Appreciate
going to
you.
make it great, Chase. We're going to make America greater than ever before, right?
And thank you for everyone donating the super chats. Should we shout them out one more time?
Yeah. Shout them out.
Okay, I got to shout out Colby, which is a woman, Michigan, which I'm guessing is from Michigan. SRT rhymes with TRT. Honey Badger, Ma'am P, which is Contact's mom, contacts our source in Ukraine. Mushi, Mr. C, USA Patriot. Honey Badger Actual, we fucking love you guys. You're the reason why we're in the game, and we're gonna start this network and grow and be InfoWars 2.0. Follow Chase at Real Chase Geyser. Follow me at Real Steven Bak on X and Instagram, and you can sign up to our network and help us support there at chasegeyser.com. Thank you guys, love you.
And make sure you follow all the